live in 3, 2, 1. What up, folks? Once again, it is indeed your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. Happy Monday. The holiday weekend is now over. Only one more remaining holiday to commemorate the summer. Wow. Now, I know summer just began on June 20th, but there is only one more summer holiday, and it's all over. Talking about Labor Day some 2 months later. But wanted to discuss what is starting to be plastered all over the news. Now, you see, the program is indeed labeled in regards to two topics. One is obviously Biden. We're asking, is Biden in denial? Everyone's seen the presidential debate a little bit over a week ago. And now we just saw him last week on not this week with George Stephanopoulos, but he did an interview with George Stephanopoulos of This Week with George Stephanopoulos. Is there anyone, I'm talking even to my liberal side of the audience, is there anyone that believes his interview with George Stephanopoulos helped his position at all? We're asking, after seeing that interview, is Biden in denial? Now, he talked about the only way he would step down is if God Almighty told him to. What the hell is that supposed to mean? If God Almighty was okay with letting the Holocaust play itself out, letting slavery play itself out, the atomic bombing of Japan, I don't think God Almighty is going to interfere with the U.S. election. So what the hell is that all about? But I want to ask you folks, because as George Stephanopoulos pointed out, he has never seen a presidential candidate with Biden's favorability ratings or favorable ratings so low. I think it's like 36%. He stated, I've never seen anyone with your ratings get reelected. Biden is claiming, bringing up the red wave, bringing up the 2016 election where Hillary Clinton was supposed to win, bringing up the midterms and the red wave. He's claiming that most likely the polls have it wrong. So I'm asking you folks, do you believe President Biden is in denial? Or do you believe maybe he's right? Maybe he's doing considerably better than a hell of a lot of media outlets, including a lot of Democrats, by the way. More and more Democrats are now coming out suggesting that Biden needs to step down. More and more of them are. I still don't believe any of the prominent Democratic figures have done it yet. We're talking about Hakeem Jeffries, maybe Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, maybe the Clintons, maybe the Obamas. None of them have done it. But there are Democrats suggesting that Biden steps down. So we're going to be talking about whether we believe Biden is in denial or should he stay the course. Secondary topic, I know my beloved Maga is not going to like this, but what do we say? We talk about free speech. We believe everyone should be allowed to speak. We try to exercise that on the program. So understand, when you're in the box or you're in the comment section, you don't have to agree with any damn body, including yours truly. We always observe and protect free speech as far as we can. Project 2025. It's about time we discuss it. Project 2025. Now, if you lean right, you probably haven't heard much about it. If you lean left, you're hearing about it every damn day. It's as simple as that. The right does not want to really talk about Project 2025, and the liberals want as many people to know about it as they can. I've actually asked some of my right-wing viewers, right-wing friends, conservative folks. Most of them are like, I don't know what that is. I've never heard of it. My humble opinion, if you watch liberal media, you're going to hear about Project 2025 a lot. If you watch right-wing media, probably very little, if any time at all. They just don't cover it. In fact, Marco Rubio is suggesting that it is some kind of fringe fictional dream. Trump stated that he's never even heard of it. Said that, but what is in it is considered to be ridiculous in his opinion. That was the actual quote. He said it's ridiculous. Never heard of it. Now, the obvious issue is there are several former members of the Trump administration that are part of the authoring of Project 2025. So the idea that Trump has never heard of it, it is kind of suspicious. Before we go to the box and go to the comment section, I'll just tell you just a few. There's a host of members of the Trump administration that authored Project 2025. It's coming from the Heritage Foundation. It's 920 pages. Feel free to go online and read as much of it as you want, if you want to at all. But John McEntee, which is Trump's director of White House personnel, is part of it. Stephen Miller, his senior advisor. You got Ken Cuccinelli. You got Paul Dan. There's like a host of members of the Trump administration that are the authors of Project 2025. So it is a bit baffling how all of these folks that Trump hired and appointed could have been part of this, and he knows nothing about it. So that is kind of suspicious. Nevertheless, we're going to get on with the program, starting out with the one and only Gen X. Appreciate the super chat. Thank you. Happy Monday. Of course, Biden is in denial. In his defense, who wants to admit that the ship has sailed? His pride is fighting the reality of his age and condition. Well, if what you're saying that Biden is not wanting to admit he's over the hill and he's doing it based on his pride, then to me, that's an essential FU to the country. You're putting your own ego over the nation. This is something the liberals often accuse Trump of doing. If what you're saying is true, Biden is doing it himself. And I do tend to side with you, Gen X. I do see some logic to that. So we're going to the box. Better get the comment section real quick. We got Dementia Joe or SA. I guess that's sexual assault dictator Trump. Damn, that is not good choices. Dementia Joe or SA dictator Trump. Wow. So what do you do if that is your only choices? A individual that has dementia, or another one, as you're suggesting, that is accountable for sexual assault and wants to be a dictator. What the hell does the American people do? And I would submit to you, sitting it out ain't gonna help out any damn body, because one of these men are going to win, whether you vote for either one or not. One of them is going to be your next commander in chief. Going to the box, started right out with Red G. Good afternoon, Red. Welcome to the program. I see someone says vote for democracy. Good afternoon, Red.
Yeah, I just want to say, we know how many cases he's been going through in the last 2 years. We're totally aware of the campaign. We understand he's running hella businesses. I think it's pretty unfair to act like he knows everything that everybody's doing. I think that's kind of ridiculous.
So you actually believe Trump when he says he doesn't know anything about Project 2025?
I'm sure he knows something about it, but it doesn't mean that he's involved, and that doesn't mean that he understands everything that they're doing, which I think is what he's trying to say.
Well, no, he said he didn't know anything about it.
Then he also, in the same quote, said that what did he say? He said he doesn't know anything about it, but he liked some of it and didn't like some of it, or something.
Right, yeah. So he's kind of contradicting himself in the same quote. Okay, I guess my guest had an issue with the phone. Well, we'll move it on. He dropped out. I see somebody says Maga excuses. Well, I wanted to continue talking to the gentleman. His signal dropped out. But yeah, he was kind of alluding to the fact that Trump contradicted himself in the same tweet. I kind of feel slighted. I should have actually, because he brought up a good point, I should have actually had the actual specific response that Trump stated, because I did read his response when he said he didn't know anything about it. It's a tweet that's about one, or a truth social. It's a truth that's about one paragraph long, but I'm going to say it like this. I think that the overwhelming majority of folks on the left do not believe Trump doesn't know anything about it, but maybe I'm wrong. Going back to the box, we'll keep it going with Moo, the tuxedo cat. Is Trump paying for promotion? I heard that. I did hear that, Jeep, that Trump was paying for folks to come to his rally in Las Vegas. Does he really have to do that in Nevada? I don't know if I believe it. What about you, Moo?
I mean, the thing is so here's the problem you're gonna run into, right? So the Republicans answer to donors just like the Democrats answer to donors, and the Heritage Foundation comes up with policies for the Republican Party based on what your donors want. Donald Trump knows those donors very well because he's getting millions and millions of campaign dollars from them. So to sit here and say that Trump doesn't know about Project 2025, that's ridiculous. And anybody who says such a thing is a moron. It's just a fact, right? You all know that Donald Trump, at Maga, you all know that Donald Trump takes millions of dollars in campaign contributions from people who donate to the Heritage Foundation.
Yeah. Well, as I pointed out, members of the Heritage Foundation that authored this Project 2025 actually worked for him.
And I told you last time I was on here, Donald Trump already implemented policies that were part of Project 2025. So for you guys to sit here and gaslight everybody like you always fucking do, nobody buys it anymore, guys. Nobody buys it except for you. All right?
Which policies?
Nobody buys it.
Okay, which policies are you saying he's already implemented as part of Project 2025?
The Paris Climate Accord, leaving the Paris Climate Accord was part of Project 2025. The Mexico City Law Executive Order was part of Project 2025. I don't have the whole list in front of me right now, but there's literally like 8 or 9 policies that Trump implemented that were all part of Project 2025. So again, MAGA, stop gaslighting people. No one believes your bullshit except for you. You can stop gaslighting. It's okay.
Well, speaking of bullshit, no one believing it. Biden being in denial, what say you?
Oh, man, talk about gaslighting. So that's your blue MAGA right there, man. Now you're going into blue MAGA, right? We tore into red MAGA, now we'll tear into blue MAGA, right?
All right.
So Joe Biden is willing to sacrifice the good of the country for his ego. He's totally willing to do that. Why is he willing to do that? Because he doesn't want to let go of his power.
Yeah.
Corporate Democrats love power and money just as much as corporate Republicans. He's not doing it for the good of the country. He's doing it because his wife doesn't want to let go of power, and he doesn't want to let go of power, and that's why he's still the DNC candidate. And as soon as the donors get tired of him being the candidate, he won't be the candidate anymore. You saying it's up to Joe Biden is not a correct statement. The people who are deciding whether Joe Biden stays the nominee for the Democrat Party are the wealthy donors, because that's where Biden derives all his power from. He doesn't get it from the American people, because the majority of the American people don't like Biden. About 70% of the American people right now don't want Joe Biden as president. So he derives his power from his donors.
Yeah, but if you're saying 70% of the American people do not want Biden for president, but when you ask them who they're going to vote for, a lot of them say Biden.
Yeah, okay. So if you have 2 teams in the Super Bowl and you have to pick one, you're going to pick one, right?
Yeah.
Because there is no other choice, right?
Yep.
Okay.
So then he doesn't really give a damn whether you like him or not. At the end of the day, if he wins, that's really all he's concerned with.
Listen, man, they didn't care if you liked Hillary either, bro. They said, this is what we're going to give you, and even if you don't like it, go vote for this one. And when she loses, we'll blame everybody except for the candidate, which is why I'm so happy none of the progressives have come forward to say anything, because if they did, the Democrats would use that as their excuse on why Biden's going to lose.
Yeah. And I will say this in the comments, Teresa, you asked, where did he get the 70% number? I actually heard it was 77. So I'm letting him say, I actually heard it's higher than that. I mean, there is no denying it.
See,
Go ahead.
So not only is Joe Biden in denial, you have this blue MAGA right here, right, bro? That just like red MAGA can't face fucking reality, and they will take the whole country down with them because they're not loyal to the country. They're not loyal to the Constitution. They're loyal to the Democrat Party, which is exactly how MAGA is. So there's literally no difference between the two.
Here's where I disagree with you. I don't believe that because you call them the blue MAGA like Chink does on I don't believe it's the Democrats are being loyal to the party, or certainly not loyal to Biden. I believe that some folks are just afraid of Trump. As I said before, if Nikki Haley was running with an R behind her name, a hell of a lot of the folks that are voting for Biden would vote for her. I just think they're that afraid of Trump.
Sure they would.
Yeah.
I hear you.
So,
I mean, if you're willing to take the whole country down with you because you're a pussy, okay, go ahead.
well, you just gave the
Pussy,
Super
it's not my
Bowl.
problem, right?
Yeah, but you just gave the Super Bowl a comparison. I mean, one person is doing this,
Well,
what
unlike
are they
the
supposed to
Super Bowl,
do?
right? So unlike the Super Bowl, you have a chance to turn this around. You have a chance to pick somebody else, but you won't do it. Why? Because Blue MAGA is not actually loyal to the country. They're not actually loyal to the Constitution. They're loyal to whatever the Democrat Party tells them to do.
Now,
And anybody with common sense at this point is saying that Biden should step down. And the people who don't have common sense, who can't understand math and numbers and want to deny polls, just like MAGA, they'll tell you that Joe Biden's good to go.
And speaking of that, Gen X says I'm in the twilight zone agreeing with Moo 2 times in a week. But let me make sure I get this clear, Moo. Despite all of the things you're saying, you have told me several times come November you are voting for Biden, correct?
Yeah, and if I have to, I'll make phone calls, I'll go door to door, I'll try to help your corpse get into office. But I shouldn't have to work that hard, because you should run a better candidate, okay?
But I'm asking to you, I know your answer, but for some of the folks that are home tuned in, and by the way, folks, tap the screen. We should be around 20,000. We got almost 700 of you in here. Tap the screen, get the likes up to about 20,000. Same on YouTube. Smash that like button. You just portrayed Biden more focused on his ego than our country, taking corporate donations. You really portrayed him as a bad guy. Nevertheless, he will get your vote.
So he helped. So he's not so Democrats, you can stop saying that Joe Biden's an old grandpa and that he cares about you, because the dude literally funded a genocide. So that narrative you have of him being a grandpa and caring about people, that shit don't work on anybody except for, Blue MAGA.
Well, let me ask you this.
Independents aren't going to believe that shit.
But let me ask you this, because Clinton Walston in the comments makes a great point. You're painting Biden out to be, as you say, even supporting genocide. Doesn't give a damn about his country, taking corporate donations.
Nope.
Clint, but you stated that at the end of the day, you're likely to vote for him. Clinton Walston in the comments asked, so that means Moo is Blue MAGA, right?
No, it means that I'm trying to get you guys to put in a better candidate so that you can win. I'm not loyal to Biden. I'm not loyal to Trump. I'm not loyal to parties. I'm loyal to policy that people put forth that actually help the majority of middle-class Americans. And if you're not doing that, then I don't support you. Okay? Joe Biden hasn't done anything spectacular. Almost no one feels the effects of the CHIPS Act, which I support. Almost no one feels the effects of the infrastructure bill, which I support. The majority of Americans have no fucking clue what Joe Biden did for them, which is why most Americans will say, I have no fucking clue what Joe Biden has done. And then, like always, the Blue MAGA will whip out their list of accomplishments that no one gives a fuck about, right? Because if you actually did something for the majority of Americans, they would know. You wouldn't have to break out a fucking list of
What about Trump? How did you live? How were you doing when Trump was in office? Economically, did you feel safer in this country? How did you feel when Trump was in office?
I've said this before. No president, while I have been alive, has made a difference in my life personally at all. At all. No president. And I can tell you right now, that's going to be the majority of your people in chat too. Even the Trump tards. Financially, jobs-wise, things like that. No president in history has made a big difference in your life whatsoever.
Trump,
and that's the truth.
Trump tarts. That's
yeah.
Okay. All right. So what I'm confused though is that you said that Biden is was supporting
and the reason they can't. Yeah, sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
You said that Biden was supporting genocide. That is the murder of thousands of people, and he's the guy that's going to get your vote. Why would you vote for him over Trump?
Okay, so I've said this time and time again. The only reason I'm voting for Biden is because he will leave when he's done. He will leave without getting fake electors. He will leave without trying to unalive his vice president. He will leave without trying to overthrow the government. He'll just leave. And at this point, that has to be good enough for me. It shouldn't be It shouldn't be this way.
But wait. You said Biden will.
Because of all the corporate donations both of your parties have taken over the past 50 years, this is where we're at now.
You said Biden will leave. What? I didn't hear that first part.
Biden will leave when he's done. He'll just leave either through passing away, which is probably likely, right? Or he'll be done and he'll just leave. He won't get fake electors. He won't try to unalive his vice president. He won't convince a bunch of idiots to raid the Capitol. He'll just leave. And for right now, I guess that has to be good enough because he's not going to help me and he's not going to help any of you either. He can't help you. His donors won't let him. Joe Biden is not going to take on the private equities so that you can buy a house. Donald Trump is not going to take on the private equities so that you can buy a house. And you guys want to keep on voting for politicians that are indebted to corporations. So as long as you do that, you're not going to get anything.
It's that you said that Biden will leave when he's done. How do you respond to folks who say that is now? He's done now when he's not leaving.
Yeah, I know. I told you he's done. Listen, bro, I've been saying he's done for 3 fucking years at this point, okay? And all I have is blue MAGA coming at me. Well, he won last time. Okay, well, the Patriots won last year. But guess what? It's a different team now, my dude. It's not the same fucking team anymore, right?
Okay. Real quick, before I move it on from you, what do you think of RFK? His name is coming up in the comments.
I think that RFK has no clue about foreign policy. I know because I've heard him talk about it. He has no clue about the technology that's on the way. He has no clue how vaccines work. The dude has actually, considering he is the nephew of one of the most famous presidents in history, the guy actually has very, very little knowledge when it comes to just about anything, honestly. Wow. And I've heard him in several interviews. He's not a smart man.
All right, I'll leave it at that, Moon. Appreciate you coming through. Thank you. All right,
good one, man.
You took moving the program on. Wow, now he painted Biden out to be pretty bad, which is why I had to push back and say, well, why the hell are you going to vote for him? Which would probably allude to the idea that Trump must really be sinister. If somebody could say all of that about Biden, but at the end of the day say, well, I guess he's still a better choice than Trump. And remember, he suggested that Biden is responsible for genocide, the murder of thousands of people, and he still would pick Biden over Trump. Wow. By the way, tap the screen. Get the likes on up to about 25,000. A lot of lazy thumbs in here, so I got to constantly push you folks. Helps out the algorithm. You know what it does. It brings in more MAGA. By the way, this is an uncensored program. Always has been. Always will be. We are MAGA friendly. MAGA are my preferred guests, even though I don't get a lot of them on TikTok. They're mostly on YouTube. But for you folks that come in, feel free to state your point without any concern of the host trying to block, ban, or censor you. You don't have to agree with me or any damn body else in the program. And if you favor uncensored dialogue from all sides of the aisle, remember we go left of Bernie Sanders to I'm having dinner with QAnon. Everybody gets to speak. If you favor that uncensored type of dialogue, feel free to follow the program on TikTok, a subscription on YouTube if you will. Looking in the comments, I see a lot of Let's Go Brandons on the YouTube side. Continuing on, we'll go to Sapper43, I think that says. Good afternoon, Sapper. Welcome to the program. Sapper.
Hello.
Hey. So,
how you doing?
I'm doing good. So what do you think? Do you think Biden is in denial about his own cognitive abilities?
No, I don't think he is. I think he knows what's going on with his cognitivity. I think it's up to the American people to make that decision.
Well, we know it's up to the American people, but when you say no, you don't think he has any illusion with his cognitive ability. You think he looked at himself in the mirror before going out to that debate last Thursday or the Thursday before last, knowing how he sounded? According to him, he had a cold. You think he felt like this is the guy to put out there? Why didn't he do something about that? He could have postponed it or anything.
He could have postponed it, but then what would have happened?
He wouldn't have looked. If he had a post, and when I'm going to allude to what you're talking about, because I do agree with you, if he had to postpone it, things would have been said, such as he's running from Trump or he's a coward. However, that's speculation. What we actually saw was reality.
Well, guess what? Reality, but I saw that same man yesterday in Philadelphia. And he was very, 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 very straightforward, and his cognitive didn't sound like it was off.
His cognitive abilities never sounded as bad as they did that debate night. I agree with you.
Guess what? We all have an off day.
Not when you
we all have an off day.
Yeah, but you can't. Let's say we're going for the job of the century. You know, when you go and take that interview, you got to impress that employer. This is not the day to show up with a cold or you're not feeling right. You reschedule the interview. I get your point that he sounded great later on, but this is when millions of people are watching you.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. But like I said, there are days when you have an off day. And when you have an off day, no matter how you may feel before, you get in front of an interviewer and you have an off day, right?
Right.
Hey, shit happens. You don't know what happened right before. You don't know what happened before you got up on stage. You don't know what could have been said or what happened prior to that. He may have felt good prior to going up on stage.
You think he may have been sounding strong? He literally sounded like Clint Eastwood in Gran Torino or something. He sounded aging as hell. You telling me before he went on stage?
Well, guess what? He is an aging man. He is.
Yeah.
He is. But that does not make him less qualified to be president. The man has done a lot of good things in his life for this country, and he's continuing to do so.
I mean, Betty White has done a lot of good things for acting, but she's deceased now. I get your point. And by the way, Zion on YouTube says R&D. I'm assuming you're talking about Republicans and Democrats will work together to get rid of both of them. I don't think the Republicans have a problem with Trump, so I gotta disagree to some degree on that. But in regards to what you're saying there, Sapper. Only way he would step down is as if God Almighty tells him? What is that?
No, not God Almighty, because guess what? The American people is going to vote. And I believe that once the election is over, and if he loses and Donald Trump wins, he will concede and step down as he should.
Yeah, but are you okay with the America at that point? It sounds like Ruth Bader Ginsburg to me.
This is a democratic country, right?
Right.
It is a democratic country. The people have a right to elect who they want in office. As they elect who they want for office, they then take the oath of office.
I disagree. Wait, hold on. You say the people, it's up to the people and they get to elect who they want in office. Do you think the people, and I'm talking about the Democratic people, the liberal people, folks who lean left, like my last caller, the progressive people, you think that they want Biden to be the one representing them?
They may not, but what about the majority of the people who does?
I don't think it's...
What about the people that do? What about the people that vote? And when those electoral ballots goes in and the electoral college says Biden is the winner, that's what it is. If the electoral college come back and say that Trump is the winner, that's what it is.
Yeah, but hold on. You're continuing to compare this as Trump versus Biden. What I'm telling you is Trump beat out 9 other Democrats, the likes of Nikki Haley, Chris Christie, Ron DeSantis, and all of them, to become the Republican nominee. Biden was not given, the Democrats are not given a choice to vote for anybody other than Biden. So when you say it's up to the people, really it's not. I think there's a host of Democrats from Gretchen Whitmer to Gavin Newsom. If any of them ran against Biden right now, I think they'd beat him.
Listen, if that's the case, then they should have requested to have a debate against the sitting president. Yeah. They did not.
Yeah.
Well, they did not.
They
say he's a sitting president.
Go ahead, say that again.
He will. They said he's a sitting president at the time. No one challenged him to a debate. They didn't challenge him to a debate. They had the opportunity to challenge him to a debate.
I agree with you. I agree with you there, but
it's not like he's Putin or Kim Jong-il, where you can't challenge him to a debate. If someone stepped up and challenged him to a debate, then yes.
Yeah, I agree with you, but I'll tell you why. And I see on YouTube, guess what's it? The difference between Trump and Biden is the teleprompter grow up. A lot of people agree with you. I'll tell you this, though. The reason why I don't believe anybody challenged Biden to a debate is because the powers that be, his handlers, did a really good job. In my opinion, I could be wrong, but in my opinion, they did a really good job of limiting Biden's exposure to the cameras. Otherwise, I think this stuff would have been came out and you would have had challenges. He don't come out and do rallies anywhere near to the frequency of Trump. Or Obama, by the way. Even when Obama was in office, he was speaking in public more than Biden.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was. Yes, Obama was speaking out more than what Biden is right now. But given the current situation, guess what? He is the sitting president at this moment. He is right now the Democratic candidate running for president.
Right.
Right? You have an incumbent who's challenging him for the presidency. Let the people speak.
Right.
Let the people go to the polls and speak.
That will happen. I gotta ask you.
And the result is out. It is out.
Okay. Fair.
I don't care about MAGA, blue MAGA, Republican, Democrat, whatever the electoral results are. That's what it is, and may it lay and may it be at peace at that point.
Okay, well, speaking of not caring about things, one last question before I'm moving on from you. Do you personally, Sapper, feel confident that if Biden is elected, he can give us 4 years? That's a hesitation. That's scary.
It's a possible. Hey, listen.
Sapper?
I don't see why he can't. I'm sorry about that. I can't see why he can't give us another 4 years. It's possible he could give us another 4 years.
Okay, my caller, you must have calls coming out.
Then we just take it from where it is.
I don't know if you really answered. You gave me a bunch of. I'm just asking you your opinion. Do you feel confident that he's likely to give us 4 more quality years?
Yes.
Okay, that's all I needed. All right, Sapper. Appreciate you coming on. Come on. This is your first time talking?
All right.
This is our first time talking?
No, second time.
All right. Well, appreciate you coming through. I disagree with a lot of that, but who gives a damn? Come on back anytime. All right. 4 more years, huh? I mean, by way of yes or no, I don't give a damn what side of the aisle you lean on before I go back to the box. I want to ask you a question by way of yes or no. Tap the screen. Get your boy on up to about 35,000 likes. We got 700 plus of you in there. We can certainly, I see a lot of you guys already know the damn answer. You're getting ahead of the host. Hold on. You already know the question. Tap the screen. Get the likes up to 35,000. Don't get ahead of the host. Yes or no? Can Biden give you, do you feel confident Biden can give us 4 more years without Kamala or somebody else having to take over? By way of yes or no, all of you guys, you fucking assholes, got ahead of me in the comments. Looking in the comments, what's the difference? Do I think Trump will make it to 82? Odds aren't very good. You could be right, Twain to Square, and I appreciate your support on the program. You could be right, but Trump is not exactly a picture of visual health, but he does come across far more stronger than Biden does. He just does. I mean, we've seen Biden have a bad day, as my last guest was suggesting at the debate. Do we see a lot of that from Trump? I mean, we've seen him drink with 2 hands before. He said some weird things, but I think Trump gets the win because he literally floods the airways with weird shit. Whereas when Biden says it, it looks like he's totally, he don't know where the hell he's at. He don't know what he's talking about. He didn't mean to say that. Trump says so much things that's like that we just assume, hey, that's how he acts. There's nothing wrong with him. He always talks like that. So he does get an advantage by simply flooding the airways with weird and, in my opinion, inaccurate statements that Trump does, that he's not going to be held accountable as much because it is just Trump being Trump. Look at in the comments, though. Trump is stronger in his lies. I could probably say that sounds a bit valid, because I think Charlemagne the God, the one that Biden said vote for me or you ain't black too, he also said that Trump lies better than Biden tells the truth. Fact is, Biden doesn't get out and talk to the public enough. That's where a lot of this shit started from the get go. Looking in the comments, yeah, four more quality years out of Biden. Ooh, Trump is delusional, but he's funny with it. Okay. Trump is the king of lies. It's impressive. Wow, king of lies. That's a hell of a title. Toothpick. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program. Enough politics. I'm going fishing, says Liz Halley. Yeah, nothing wrong with that, Lee. Nothing wrong with going fishing.
Hello.
Toothpick. Good afternoon.
How's it going, buddy? This is the second time I've actually gone on here. Hope you're doing well.
Thank you. Appreciate you coming up. Project 2025. Have you heard of it?
Absolutely.
What do you think?
Scary.
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 Trump
Yeah.
says he knows nothing about it. What's your say?
Come on, man. He's lying.
So you believe Trump is lying to the American people?
Yeah.
Do you believe, based on what you're saying, do you believe Trump favors an agenda that he refers to as ridiculous? He referred to some of the things they're proposing as ridiculous. Do you think he's telling the truth or lying about that?
I think he'll sign off on whatever gets him out of jail time and whatever gets him out of having to face all the crimes that he did.
Wow.
So he'll sign whatever gets him out of. He'll sign whatever get out of jail free card he can get his hands on.
Well, I would say after the ruling of the Supreme Court last week, I don't think the chance of Trump going to jail on anything has been charged with is likely at this point. I think it's kind of over with at this point.
That's fair.
Yeah.
But I think that I think there's still a chance that less likely now, but I think he still just wants to, be sure of not having to face the trial. I think in like Florida, the other one like in Georgia, the other ones, I think he just wants to make sure that gets, pulled off the table as well. So I like with him, to be honest, and I don't think he cares about any kind of policy. If he knew that he could get his way by running Democrat, he would.
Wow.
He just knows that Maga is where he's gonna get most of what he wants. You know what I mean?
So you're saying that Trump is essentially a rhino. You said that if he could become Democrat and get his way, he would do that too. So you're basically saying the guy is a rhino. He's just there because it benefits him.
I think he's just there to feed his ego no matter what. He'll sell out in whatever way he can. I don't think he has any sort of backbone in any direction.
Wow. Toothpick, you got 74 million folks that voted for Trump. If he's that bad, can you explain that?
There were lots of people that followed Hitler. There were lots of people that supported Stalin. That means nothing.
Yeah, I can't argue with that. There was a large portion, but
there's people that helped Pol Pot get into power. There's people that, whatever dictator. There's tons of people that supported them. Each dictator had their set of lemmings that helped put them where they were. That doesn't mean anything.
So you're mentioning all of these really, really bad leaders. You're mentioning dictators. Is it safe to assume you believe Trump himself is trying to assume the role of a dictator?
He did say in day one. There is reasonable doubt that somebody like that wouldn't, do that. But it's just like, well, look at how all the pieces are falling in place for maybe not necessarily him in his age to be able to do that, because I think he just has a different flavor of dementia than Biden. But I just kind of feel like if it's not him, then maybe the cabinet behind him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I will agree with you slightly. I do believe that in defense of Trump, we have left the door open. And I'm not saying Trump is a bad guy, but we've left the door open for somebody who has negative intentions for this country to really prosper. In defense of Trump, we've kind of moved a lot of hurdles out of the way so that if somebody gets up there that really wants to do a bad job, we've made it easier. Let's
put it this way. If not Trump, then at the very least Trumpism. It doesn't necessarily have to be Trump himself at the wheel.
So what is your definition of Trumpism?
Trumpism is like ultranationalism, authoritarian rule, like, the cutting of checks and balances, the sort of deterioration of the democratic process, white nationalism, Well, I mean, what else?
Yeah.
What else?
Well, I mean, I normally like to be able to play devil's advocate and push back, but a lot of the stuff you just said, he's kind of admitted to. So I mean, there's nowhere else to go with that. But what about it? Folks suggest that the economy was much better. There was not a lot of wars going on. Folks had more money in their pockets. You hear that all the time. How was your life personally during the Trump years?
Well, I don't know if my life specifically would be exemplary of somebody who was affected by Trump, but I did see a lot of, the conversation again towards immigration, take a very negative turn. And I saw a lot of, migrants who came here just looking for a better life, having their kids ripped away from them. And in terms of, there were no wars, it's like, hello, he killed one of the top generals in Iran. And then he also, with the thing with Afghanistan, people like to blame Biden for that. But it's like, MAGA people like to say, we need to spend money on America instead of, sending it to where it has no business being. Well, Biden actually did that. Yeah, maybe we had a shoddy exit, but Trump, he didn't do it, and so they were still, we were. And
you're saying that Biden gets no blame for the botched evacuation in Afghanistan, taking the life of 13 servicemen. You're not blaming that on Biden at all.
I mean, it would have happened. It would have been a dirty exit either way.
So you do believe that would have happened under Trump too?
Unfortunately.
Wow.
I mean, we shouldn't have been there in the first place at all. I mean, that's a whole bigger conversation about American foreign policy, altogether. But what can I say,
So let me ask you, at the end of the day, if it comes down to Biden versus Trump, you're clearly voting for Biden, right?
I'm glad that you asked me that, because the last time that we spoke, I came on here and I resonated with, I forgot his name, but it was like, I think two callers before this one, that he's like, they're both garbage, this, and that. And it was like that I was kind of wishing that I had a third party candidate, but I've thought about it since, and I've actually sort of taken a lot of what you had given me into account. And, the conclusion that I came to, while I resonate with a lot of the people that say they're both bad, I think you should take it a little step further and just consider that might be a little lazy. Just to be like, they're both garbage, we'll both throw them out, and then just, let Jesus take the wheel. I think what we need to consider right now is, which candidate will give us the opportunity to still have, a chance in the fight? Because if we let Trump win, that's it. I think that's, it's authoritarian rule, apocalypse, all that.
Damn.
At least if we
apocalypse. You said apocalypse. Damn.
At least if we get Biden, there's still a chance that maybe there's a future that we can get more progressive candidates in office. At least we still have a fighting chance with the left. That doesn't mean I support Biden. I agree that he supports genocide and blah, 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 all that progressive, stuff that they all say about him. But at the very least, there's still a chance that democracy can still prevail.
So based on what you said, I'm going to sum it up by saying this. Based on your comment, you believe that if Trump is reelected, it will fundamentally change America in a way that almost sounds irreparable. You can't repair it.
Maybe not. Well, it might be repaired, but I want to live long enough to see that. But I probably wouldn't live long enough to see that. I don't want to take that chance, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I get your point. That's scary. That is scary. All right, I got to move it on. Man, you really depressed the hell out of me. I'm getting a lot of guests that sound just like you, though, man. I appreciate you coming on, Toothpick.
Have a good one, man.
You too. And real quick, I will say, we don't know what Trump will do when he gets in office, or if Biden gets another 4 years. Everybody always speculates. I got plenty of footage of folks who were saying that Obama was going to destroy the country. Newt Gingrich said he was going to raise taxes to 70%, turn us into socialist Greece. At the time, Greece had the failed economy. Venezuela was still doing all right because Hugo Chavez was still alive. So they were using Greece as the bad country. So they said if Obama gets elected, he's going to turn us into socialist Greece. Gas is going to be $5 a gallon, and taxes were going to be at 75%, and everybody's guns were going to be taken away. So people do paint apocalyptic descriptions if their candidate of choice does not get elected. So we'll see in regards to President Trump. Here's where I do believe there is a potential long-term loss of checks and balances, or I don't want to say apocalyptic things, or a paint, this Armageddon America under Trump, but there is one area that is very concerning to me, and I would be concerned the same way if it could happen if Biden got elected, despite my politics, and that is, I say it all the time, Clarence Thomas being 75 and Justice Alito being 74 is my biggest concern. You guys should be tapping the screen. That's another concern. Get the likes up to about 50,000. Helps out the algorithm, brings in more MAGA. I'm getting MAGA in the comments, just not on the call side. But appreciate you folks that are tapping and tuning in. Same on YouTube. Go ahead and get the likes up to 100. You can certainly make that happen. As I stated, Clarence Thomas is 75 right now. Justice Alito is 74. I've said this on many programs. I don't think it would be difficult at all for President Trump to convince both Alito and Clarence Thomas to step down for the good of the party. I mean, at the end of the day, we know Clarence Thomas loves gifts. So at 75, to get him to retire and be a hero among the Republican Party so that Trump could put in a 40 or 50-year-old, I don't think it would be a difficult task to get either one of them. So Trump gets 2 more appointments, all being 55 years of age or less. So now you got 5? You got 5 judges appointed by Trump. And they're all pretty damn young. Right now it's a 6-3 majority. It would still be a 6-3 majority, but now they're much younger. So you're not going to have a lot of checks and balances in the country. It's going to be a far-right America. That's not Armageddon by any means. But it is in America that is going considerably further to the right at that point. That's concerning a little bit. I don't want America to go too damn far to the left either. That would be a far-right America. And with Sotomayor and Justice Roberts, they're both 69. Everybody don't live to be 80. It's a possibility over the next 4 years, one of them may actually have to get replaced. I'm not saying it'll happen, but as I stated, everybody don't live to be 80, and they're both 69. So Trump could end up with as many as 7 justices. That's a very, very far-right America. Very far-right. Now, if you lean right, hell yeah, it sounds fantastic. But I'm just simply saying I do prefer an America with a lot of checks and balances, which is why you hear me host a show. I'm a little bit left, but I try to be as close to the center line as possible. Another Trump term, we're nowhere near the center. We're going to be pretty far to the right. There's just no denying that. Now, that's not to say that Biden may not need to step down, and he is not likely to get 4 more years. I know a lot of people believe that and things like that. But Biden, if he gets reelected, whatever he does, it's over with in 4 years. That is the way I look at it. Whatever he does, it's over with in 4 years. Whereas you get 6 very young Supreme Court justices, maybe 7. That's going on for most of our lives, if not the rest of it. That'll probably be all of my life. There'll probably be a fairly strong conservative balance on the Supreme Court for the rest of my life. I don't know where that would go, but that is what would happen. That's not anywhere near the center at that point. So that is a little bit of a concern. Looking in the comments, though, Trump is a nightmare, says Ron. Wow. Thank you for the comment. OG Do says you are fair. By the way, tap the screen. Get me on over to 50,000 like mark. We will continue the program on one of my subscribers, Den Cal. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program, Den Cal. Asking, should Biden realize that so many liberals wanting Biden to step down? Do you think he should take the advice? Den Cal, what say you?
I mean, to be honest about it, I would hope that he would step down in this position and go out as a patriot and saying it's time to allow some, younger, fresh minds in the position. But at this point, we don't have that option. He's the incumbent, and only he gets to make that decision. Everybody can run around and they can have these meetings and talk about stuff. The only way to remove a sitting president is to either the 25th Amendment.
Yeah. How about this comment, though? This came from Mr. Big Stuff. Kind of reminds me of the old song, I don't know, with Martin Vandellas. Or Mr. Big Stuff says, no liberals want that. Stop the cap. In regards to me suggesting that folks on the Democrat side of the aisle want Biden to step down, he's saying no liberals want that. Is that is that the way you observe things? That no liberals want him to step down at all?
No, of course. We got people on TV, we got people on social media, right. We got people in our lives every day saying they would prefer that he step down. But at the same time, we don't get to make that decision. The incumbent is the only person, and if he's dead set on running, then I'm going to vote for him because I understand what the alternative is.
Well, let me ask it to you this way. Patriot on YouTube says, what has Biden done good? And he answers his own question by saying nothing. Do you agree with Patriot saying that Biden has really done nothing good in the 4 years he's been in office?
I mean, if we get to the 3.5, almost 4 year mark of the presidency, and he can't look around the country and tell that things are better from when he got into office, then he's not worth having a conversation with. I'll just talk to you. I'm not. That's stupid.
Well, but they're going to bring up inflation, the economy. There's wars breaking out everywhere. There's things that appear to be worse too, right?
Well, I mean, when you say wars breaking out, like we don't control other countries and who chooses to shoot missiles at each other. All we can do is support our allies like we promised to do.
Right.
And nobody likes that, but Biden has been probably the most effective in my time at being able to execute these situations without using boots on the ground in American, lives. Yeah. So they can say, oh, nothing happened under Trump, but then if we go back and we look and we say, okay, well, there was Syria, the Afghanistan war was still, like, these things didn't just, like, somebody saying he didn't start a war is like the dumbest analogy I could even think of. Like, he didn't start any new wars. What does that even mean?
Well, Bush started a war. I mean, that can happen. Biden didn't start any wars either. They're blaming him for wars that broke out, but Biden didn't start any wars either.
Neither did Obama.
Yeah, that's true. But he
didn't start any wars. When we react to like conflict, that's not starting a war.
Right. Well, Bush was the only Bush started a war. Bush actually started a war.
Right. He got everybody together and he showed them what he saw was evidence, and he said, "Look, we going to war because of this." That's starting a war. All of this other stuff about conflicts and everything, that just comes along with your job as the president of the United States. You can't tell which countries to invade at what time and who decides strategically if they want to wait for Trump to get out of office because, whatever reason. I guarantee you, Putin doesn't think Biden is a weak president.
Yeah, I've said that numerous times. I agree with you that I don't think Putin thinks. I mean, Putin has lost so much blood and treasure under Biden. He may have thought he was a weak president when he invaded the Ukraine, but he certainly can't be feeling that way now. And in the comments, BTC says exactly, Abraham Lincoln started a war. Does that make him bad? Well, Abraham Lincoln did not start that war. That didn't come from him. That came from the South. So I don't know if you got history right on that one. He didn't start that war. They were the ones that wanted to secede from the Union. He didn't have a reason to attack the South. He had a reason to attack the North. So I don't know if you're getting that one right. But do you feel, Dencal, that Biden can give us 4 solid years? You think he'll be able-bodied to do it?
At this point, it doesn't matter to me. I just have to be honest. Like, it doesn't matter. The alternative is Project 2025. The alternative is him wanting to take control of all civil servant positions and turn them into political, nominations.
Let me ask it to you this way, because what you're saying sounds very concerning. Let's say in your sleep, God Almighty, we mentioned him before with Joe Biden, God Almighty came and told you, before you vote, I just want to let you know, I plan on calling Joe Biden home in 2.5 years. You can vote any way you want, but I'm letting you know his fate is already sealed. I'm calling him home in 2.5 years. Who you voting for?
Joe Biden. I'm not for a specific person.
Right.
I'm voting for an agenda and policies, not him. If he were to leave, Kamala Harris has the platform and the same policies as he does.
Right.
It's not about him.
Well, then, based on what you're saying, I kind of understand then why Biden ain't getting out. And Star Trek fan, thank you for the hat mustache. Or I think you said that to Dinka. Thank you anyway. But I think based on what you're saying, and a hell of a lot of guests in the comment section are saying the same thing. He could be in a casket. I'm still voting for Biden. Damn. Based on what is coming in, I see why Biden is not stepping down. I think that the dislike or distrust or hatred for Trump, or as Maga would say, Trump derangement syndrome, I think it's so strong. I mean, as you said, you're voting for Biden even if you know he won't make it. So there really is no reason for him to step down.
Because I'm not voting for the person, or I'm not voting for a cult of personality. I'm voting for policies and agenda that serve the American people, not policies and agendas that serve a particular president. That is the problem with MAGA, is they're not voting for the policies of the Republican Party. They're voting for the policies and agenda of Donald J. Trump and the Heritage Foundation.
Yeah.
And for anybody who thinks that he didn't know or he doesn't know about Project 2025, when we got video of him at the Heritage Foundation saying that they need to be a part of the future of our country and develop. I mean, he said these things. So when he gets up there and says he knows nothing about it, what does that make you think when somebody can get up there and deny their whole platform?
Yeah.
He's going to do that stuff. People can talk about, well, you know, he can't, he won't. He is going to, those same things that are in Project 2025 are in Agenda 47. I mean, like verbatim, some of those things. They've already started laying the groundwork with those rulings from the Supreme Court about what to do with poor people and being able to put them in camps and all of that stuff he is going to fucking do.
Damn. That's scary, man. That is Armageddon politics. That is scary. I mean,
hey,
and I see,
look, we didn't make up the policies. We just looking at them, and we're looking at where this country would go when you say all civil servants need to be subservient to the president. Because guaranteed, if Joe Biden today said he's going to kick out all of the civil servants that don't agree with his policies, MAGA would throw a freaking fit.
but you know the difference. You know the difference is, I think even the liberals would hold him accountable for saying something like that.
Exactly.
And that's why I say I think Trump gets the win, because he floods the airways with a lot of controversial things to the point where people are like, you know, don't even take him seriously. Like when I bring up all the time that Trump has promised to give police immunity if he's reelected. If Biden said something like that, the liberals, particularly minorities, would be all over him. Trump says it, and MAGA's like, well, you know, he really can't do that. You know, he's just saying that. I mean, so I give Trump the win, because
even the Supreme Court knows that Biden won't do it, because they just gave him the immunity to do whatever he wants to Trump, and he's not going to do it. They know that.
That's a good point. Now, before I move it on, last question. Do you think Biden should use that immunity he's been granted in any way, fashion, or form to ensure another victory for Democrats?
Boy, that's a tough question. I mean, if it was me, I would.
In what way?
But, whatever way, if I really believe, which I do, that Trump is a threat to society and our way of life, because every president from now going forward will always come in and kick out 50 to 70,000 people and switch their ideology.
Wow,
bro, that's yeah. If I believe,
so you would actually tell your advisors, find a way I can use this immunity to prevent him from being reelected.
Yes.
All right.
Who else? Before I go, I just use SEAL Team 6.
Oh my God. You think America would not have a civil conflict over that? Or do you not care?
Hey, well, I mean, we're already having this conversation, and look, we know that one person will do anything in their power to gain power and loyalty for everyone, and do things as an authoritarian. I mean, you got to fight fire with fire, right? Or do you?
Yeah, I don't. You can't tell me that Trump is trying to take us into some kind of Russian-like dictatorship while you're advocating using SEAL Team 6. You kind of sound like you're doing the same thing. Then I gotta move it on. You know how we do. Appreciate you coming through.
All right, fire with fire.
Yeah, sound that way. Real quick in the comments, what is this? Patriot Warrior. In all caps, Biden showered with his teen daughter, prove 100% adjudicated in court. How you support that? Do we really want to go down the path of sex crimes when Trump is the adversary? Listen, as I brought up last week's show, if Trump has got his daughter on his lap saying that, if she wasn't my daughter, I'd be dating her. Look, you can bring it whatever you want on Biden. There's just simply too much stuff that's going to be accessible to bring up on Trump. I just don't think you want to really have that debate. Kind of like when Biden was bragging about his crowd size to George Stephanopoulos, and George Stephanopoulos told him, I don't think you want to do the crowd argument. In other words, what did he say? Trump attracts, quite a big crowd as well. What he wanted to say is Trump attracts 10 times the crowd size that you do. Now, I know a lot of you folks are going to bring up, there is allegations that Trump just held a rally in Vegas and the people there were being paid. We can debate that, but fact is Trump does draw a hell of a lot more folks than Biden could ever do. I don't think that's even up for debate. Even if Trump has paid some people here or there, I think that you got freaking rallies in Florida where boaters and things like that are clouding the causeways and things like that. I don't believe they're all being paid. I think that the draw towards Trump is significantly bigger than the draw towards Biden because a lot of Democrats would have preferred a different candidate. MAGA had a chance to do so and they chose Trump overwhelmingly. If the Democrats had 9 other choices like MAGA did, I don't think Biden would be your candidate. So I think it's a big difference there. Jane Doe case information is now available on the public. I don't know what that means. Biden showered with his kids, says Patriot. Like I said, you can bring that stuff up, but if you're ignoring that Trump stated, if she wasn't my daughter, I'd be dating her. I mean, he's essentially saying his kid is fuckable. He's essentially saying, if she wasn't my kid, I would be trying to hit this. And you're bringing up Biden. And by the way, he did say that when his own child was underage, too. So, I mean, what's the point? If you're going to bring it up. But it ain't like the adversary is any less into it than what you're bringing up. One of my, looking in the comments is, no, there will be approximately 30 million members of the administrative state standing in the unemployment line. 30 million, what is that, 10, almost about 7 to 8% of this country? Under who? Under which president? You think unemployment will go up to 7 to 8%? I mean, I suppose it could happen, but as I stated before, we've seen 4 years of Biden, we've seen 4 years of Trump. And that type of unemployment, we haven't come close to that under either president. I suppose plus or minus the pandemic. Pandemic was a bit different, but looking at Trump as a president, looking at Biden as a president, neither one of them were doing numbers that were that bad. Going back to the box, tap the screen. We should be around 70,000. Let your thumbs not be lazy. This is an uncensored program. You know we don't block, ban, or censor anyone for their commentary. You don't have to agree with the host. You don't have to agree with anybody in the damn comment section. We go left of Bernie Sanders to I'm having dinner with QAnon. Free speech is how the program operates. If you enjoy that, follow the program on TikTok, a subscription on YouTube, if you will. Real quick, just to give my plug and spiel, we are here Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. Central. Monday through Friday, weekdays, 1,300 hours is when you'll find us. Looking in the comments, somebody said that's gross. Yeah, it is gross. Trump says he's taking out the education system. Teachers out of work. He didn't phrase it that way. He stated that he's going to get rid of the Department of Education. Does that mean automatically teachers are going to be out of work? No. I don't believe Trump's goal is to make teachers unemployed. My humble opinion, and you feel free to tell me where you think I got it wrong, free speech all day, every day, but the goal is to control what your children are learning. That's why you're getting rid of the Department of Education. The goal is, look, I don't want my children learning about CRT, or I don't want them learning LGBT issues. I want them learning about Christianity all damn day. I mean, the goal is to control what your children are learning. It's not to stop folks from teaching them. It's to control the lessons they're being learned. That's what I personally believe. And I see somebody in the comments says good. Red Jungle says good. A lot of folks who support it. A lot of folks who support it don't believe what our children are being taught in schools now is viable or the right thing. There was no folks on the right expressing outrage over the Bible now being shoved down the throats of kids in Oklahoma. It is part of their curriculum. So if you have a child going to school in the state of Oklahoma, they no longer have an option whether to read the Bible or learn about it. It's literally being shoved down their throat now. So a lot of folks on the right favor that. They believe that's okay. My guess is if you did that with the Quran, the opinion might change. Going to the box, we'll bring up Debbie Rogers. Good afternoon, Debbie. Welcome to the program. Asking that question, is President Biden in denial? Wow. Tax the churches, says Lisa. That ain't going to happen under Trump. It might happen if they keep going this far under Biden, but that taxing religious institutions is not going to happen under Trump, guaranteed. In fact, they may start taking stronger positions of leadership in this country. That's how the country was founded, right? Well, we were founded on Christianity. Well, we also were founded on religious institutions having a lot more involvement in our leadership in this country. So if you want to go back in that direction, yeah, the churches would gain a lot more power. The box is having problems, nothing new, so we'll give the box a chance to reset. Everyone who signed the Declaration of Independence could be considered felons for treason. Based on what? Why would Trump subject himself to all this BS if he didn't care about this country? I can't see the name, but in regards to that question, why would Trump subject himself to all this BS if he didn't care about the country? That could be asked of every president that's ever ran, even the ones you hate. Why would they do it? I mean, because at the end of the day, you need security for the rest of your life because people may be trying to take it. Why would Obama do it? Why would Hillary Clinton do it? I mean, so there's because of the power, because of the money, because of the legacy. That's why they do it, period. Biden is insanely wealthy, just like Trump is. They're well past what is considered being elderly. Why don't they just retire and live a very rich life with no worries? Because they want the power. It ain't like the money's going to matter when you're damn near 80 and already got millions of dollars you can't spend. It's the power. It's literally the power. That's the only. Now, some would add that maybe in Trump's case, because he's dealing with court cases and all this other shit, he may be doing it for other reasons. But at the end of the day, it's the power and the wealth. Both sides. Looking on the comments, what's your thought on Nashville? What happened in Nashville? Somebody asked me, what's my thoughts on Nashville? I'm not aware of what you are referring to. Going back to the box, Nicholas writing, we'll try to bring up Nicholas. Tap the screen, get the likes on up to about 75,000. We can make that happen if you show your boy a little bit of participation on TikTok. YouTube, feel free, about 150. We can do that. 150. Smash that like button. Nicholas, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, handsome. How you doing, my boy?
I'm doing good. You must be from the East Coast.
You say it every time I come on, handsome. South Philadelphia, born and raised. On
All
the
right,
playgrounds where I spend most of my days.
All right. Okay. All right. I'm hearing my cousin Vinny or something coming up. So, in regards to Biden, do you think he just needs to step back? Perhaps he's in denial?
Absolutely, he needs to step down. He's no longer able to keep doing what he's doing, Tim.
No.
I don't want to use sophisticated words, but I'm sure everybody and their mother sees this guy cannot go on 4 more years. He might not even be alive in 4 years.
What about Trump? You think Trump is good for 4?
Trump's good for 4. Absolutely, all day long. He's good for 4 all day.
All right. What about the notion, like many of my callers have suggested, that they would vote for a corpse over Trump? There's a lot of folks, even Mark Cubans and folks like that, have stated that. Bill Maher of HBO fame are suggesting. Bill Maher said he'd vote for Biden even if they had his head in a jar of blue liquid. Why are so many folks, in your opinion, so deathly afraid of Trump?
Because they're afraid, Tim, because they're afraid, bottom line is once he becomes president, which he will be in 2025, and everybody's going to be all upset and butthurt, but I'm calling it now. Screenshot it, do whatever you want. As of 3/17, July 8th, Trump will be president in 2025.
Why do you believe they're going to be butthurt? What about Trump? We talk about the $2 gas and no global affairs, the economy, inflation was lower. Why do you think Trump is going to make so many people butthurt?
Because him becoming president, he's got so many haters, millions and millions of haters, hundreds of millions, most likely.
So then I'm asking that question: why do you think so many? If he does such a great job as president, why do so many millions, as you say, hundreds of millions of people? Why is he hated so much?
He's hated because when he was president, he was doing his thing. He messed up the COVID thing. I'll tell you that. He messed up the COVID thing. Fauci should be hung. Fauci should go to jail for the rest of his life. All the bodies he should be accounted for. But Trump did a terrible job during COVID. I will say that. He didn't do a great job with that.
But how do you... Okay, here's the question. Now, you mentioned Fauci should, be locked up and things like that, and you're blaming Fauci for deaths. Now, you do realize Fauci is an advisor. He doesn't pass any laws. If Trump is taking the advice of the advisor, and the advisor is giving bad advice and he continues to take it, at what point does Trump become accountable for that?
Trump, at the end of the day, should have cut him off when he's giving him bad advice from Jump Street.
Right. So it's
taking somebody's advice that's killing millions of people. And he's at a baseball game with no mask on, with 3 people in the whole crowd at the stadium, and he's got no mask on, really sticking it up our ass.
Yeah, but you do realize Trump threw a party where, what was the guy named? Herman Cain later died. He also threw a lot of gatherings with no mask.
No mask. I mean, I'm sure the Democrats did it too. Everybody
we're talking about these men, though. Fauci's on television. Hold on, hang on. Fauci's on television telling everybody to wear a mask, yet Trump holds a rally. You mentioned Fauci at the Yankee Stadium, but Trump throws a whole party with people not wearing masks, and one of the participants died. Do you not put that on Trump?
He shouldn't have went to the party, the guy. If he had a chance of dying.
So you don't.
He should have been there.
So you don't.
Unless he was a political contributor, then I see why he's there. Most likely, he's probably donating money if he's going to the party. If he's invited to the party, he's definitely donating money to the Trump campaign. But he has a choice to either go to that gathering or not to go to the gathering, too,
right.
Tim.
So, but the idea that he's throwing gatherings with no mask on, you're saying that there's nothing to hold him accountable for at all about that.
I mean, look, if them people wanted to go there, they're responsible for themselves. He threw the party. They didn't have to go.
So why are you blaming Fauci for showing up with no mask on?
Fauci killed everybody.
No, I'm asking you. You brought up Fauci. Hold on. You brought up Fauci being at a baseball game with no mask on. Why are you blaming? Hold on, hang on. Let me frame the question. Hold on. You're answering. I haven't asked you anything yet. Let me ask you the question. Then you can. How do you blame Fauci for not wearing a mask? But then when Trump throws a party where he's not wearing a mask, the response is, well, you shouldn't have showed up at the party.
Right, exactly. I mean, if I got invited to the party and I knew there was a chance of with COVID going on, I wouldn't have went. I would have pulled back, to be honest with you, because it ain't worth it. I can miss a party and still be alive. That's the point I'm trying to make. All them people that went chose to go. They didn't have a gun to their head to go to that party, did they?
Yeah. To me, what you're saying sounds like Jim Jones saying, I didn't force you to drink the poison. You chose to drink. Yeah, it's poison, but you chose to do it. I mean, you're admitting that not wearing a mask sounds like it was the wrong thing to do because you're holding Fauci accountable for it. But when Trump does it, well, you didn't have to follow his advice.
It's the truth, though. Would you have went to the party?
Then why are you blaming Fauci?
If you got invited, let's just listen. If you got invited to Trump's party, would you would have went?
No.
I know that. I know that. So
Right.
therefore, what I'm saying is, if I got invited, I wouldn't have went either for that reason with the COVID going on. Why have a chance of spreading germs and bringing it back to my wife and kids?
Right. But
and my mom.
here's where you're
That's
confusing me.
what the people don't get, Tim, at that point. You're bringing it back to your family and your loved ones.
Okay.
You don't got to go to the gathering.
Here's where you're confusing me. If you offer me poison, would I drink it? No. But I'm gonna hold you accountable for trying to do something that could kill me. I mean, I'm gonna hold you accountable for that.
Yeah, I hear you on that. Hold them accountable. But at the end of the day, do you get where I'm coming from or no?
No,
Apparently,
I don't hear the accountability. No, I don't get what you're coming from.
Yeah, where I'm getting at is making a valid point here, Tim, and you're not understanding what I'm saying. I don't understand.
Okay,
what
clear
I'm
it up for me. Clear it up.
Listen, then people had a choice. Either
Right.
to go to the party or not to go to the party. Now, that poor guy that went to the party just so happened to probably got COVID and died. That's not Trump's fault. He had a choice to go to that party or not to go to the party. Is the point I'm trying to make. So do you understand?
I understand, and that's what my response
So
is
what
to you.
am I not understanding from you? Then I want to clear it up because I want to be on the same page.
Okay,
I
let's
enjoy
see if we can
watching your
do
show
it.
When I'm at work every day, Tim, I enjoy your content. I enjoy everything about you. I want to clarify what I'm not understanding from you.
Okay, here's what you're not understanding from me. You're saying that if you offer me poison, I have a right to take it or not. But if I drink it, it's only my fault. It's not your fault for giving it to me.
Yes, you got a good point. I understand you now. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, totally. 100%.
And you agree with that?
I agree with you there because he knew what was going on. So I get where you're coming from. He knew what was going on with the COVID thing. So maybe he shouldn't have thrown the gathering in the first place.
Right. So Trump is accountable then.
Trump, yeah, could be accountable for that one.
Okay.
Absolutely,
All right.
100%. Now
All
I
right.
understand where you're coming from.
Yeah. And that means that he could be considered accountable for the death of another human being.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you, bro. So now what else could we talk about? I want to get a couple minutes with you, Tim. I don't come on a lot, and I'm on vacation this week, Tim. I'm not in the mail truck sweating my balls off right
Well,
now.
you gotta support the.
Relaxing, talking to my man Handsome.
All right, it would help if you support the program. Real quick, have you heard of Project 2025?
2025, my wife ran it by me. She told me everything about it, how they're trying to take the rights away. Correct? Ain't that what 2025 is about?
That's allegedly what it's about. What's your opinion?
Taken. I think that's totally wrong at the end of the day because my wife is Black American, Black African. So, and my kids. So therefore, I got to do what's right and support my wife and my kids at the end of the day.
Is your wife a Trump supporter?
Hell no. Come on. You already know that. I was on here before, Tim. You know that.
I forgot. Now, you support Trump, though. You support Trump, right?
Say that one more time.
You are a Trump supporter, correct?
I support Trump, but unfortunately, I'm going to go with the wife on this and do what's best for my wife and kids.
Really? I wasn't expecting that. I was not expecting that.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing, brother. And if nobody likes it, it is what it is. But if Trump wins, I hope he does win. But if he don't, it is what it is. But I already know what I'm voting on, and that's just the way it is.
So,
I'm going to respect my wife and kids and make sure they have a right to vote when they get that age, and they can vote. I'm going to make sure of that.
So you actually favor Trump's policies, but you fear that if he is reelected, he could be harmful to your wife and children.
And do my family wrong. I'm not going to allow that to happen.
Damn.
I wouldn't like that to happen to nobody else's family. That ain't even right, Tim. That shouldn't even be in the talks. It shouldn't even be a friggin' thing brought up as a policy.
I swear to God, this is you definitely are the most interesting turnaround of a call that I've had in a while. Wow. So what do you think personally? What do you think?
100% real with you, Tim.
No shit. So what do you personally think Trump would do that could be harmful to your wife and children?
By taking away their rights to vote.
And you believe Trump is capable of doing that?
Yes, 100%. It's in the making. So that's what 2025 is about. That's, the 25 thing. That's wrong. Are you okay with it?
If what is in there is accurate, no, I would not be okay with it. I mean, I do believe it is.
You and every other person, just like you, shouldn't be okay with that. And that shouldn't even be in the talks.
Now,
Bottom line, period.
Did you vote for Trump in 2020?
Tim, unfortunately, the circumstances, I was away in a camp for 21 months, so I couldn't vote.
Okay. Away in a camp?
Yeah, I was away for 21 months, did some time.
Oh, okay. All right. I get it now. Okay. All right, fair enough. I got to move it on. Nicholas, wow. I won't forget this conversation for a while. That was a different outcome. I wasn't expecting that.
Anytime, handsome. That's why I enjoy watching your show while I'm delivering mail for 4 hours. The minute I see that invite go up, I click right on, put my shit up on my truck, and just rock out.
I like that. I appreciate that. Well, thanks for tuning in, man. Much love.
Anytime. Thanks for bringing me on, Tim. You're the man. Keep doing your thing, brother. Wish you nothing but the best from here on to the rest of your life. You and your family. God bless, brother.
Good stuff. Thank you. Wow. Was anybody expecting that? Was anybody expecting him to end the program by saying he's not voting for Trump? That really threw me for a loop. And I'm not going to suggest he's not being honest. Based on what he was saying, I do believe he was being honest about that. I mean, that man was sincere. It was about his wife and kids. If he was a single individual, he'd be down with Maga. And I've had a lot of folks that somebody says hallelujah. I see that in the comments. Somebody said hallelujah. His wife was standing behind him. Well, you know, it's interesting. Okay, somebody said his wife was standing behind him, so he didn't want to talk shit in front of his wife. I don't know. I'm not going to subscribe to that, but I think that's a really good point that, you know, spouses tap the screen. Let me give you my spiel and we'll go back to the comment section. Tap the screen, get the likes up to about 88,000. We got almost 900 of you in here, so the participation is there. The viewership is there, but you guys are letting your thumbs be lazy. So get the likes up, about 85,000. We can certainly have that happen. Same on YouTube. Smash that like button. Spouses. Now, the joke was his wife was there, whatever the case may be. I'm not going to speculate on what was going on with my last caller, but I do believe there are spouses that are telling their wives or husbands they're going to do something at the polls that they may do opposite. I strongly believe this is more prevalent among females. If I had to ponder, and you guys can criticize me where you may, you know, I always invite dissenting opinion. White females. I believe that's where this is going to be the strongest, is that you're going to have some white females who may tell their husbands they're going to do one thing and do another. I'm saying white females because I think with the other females, particularly black females, I don't even think it's going to be 7%. You don't normally see many black females identifying as Republican in this day and age. So I think mostly I would say white females. But as I say, always, I could be wrong. Nah, I would never pretend to like Trump, says True Blue. Wouldn't even pretend, huh? Wow. Looking real quick in the comment section. Thank you, Gen Xer. My point, weeks back, how women influence politics. Yeah. Women can influence politics. And you see what happened with my last guest. He's MAGA. He's otherwise MAGA, but it is because his wife is African-American, and that means they likely have a mixed child, which would be considered African-American. So he's stating that he believes Trump is going to take away voting rights. Is that even in 2025? Is it predicted that he would go that far? I'm being candid. I have not read all 920 pages of Project 2025. Are they actually, now I know there's going to be a lot of gerrymandering and things like that, but actually completely removing voting rights, is that part of that? Wow. Because they getting that government check, says Brad. Oh my God. Suggesting my last caller was getting a government check. You've read it. Mitten State Media says he's read all 920 pages. Wow. Voting rights aren't going anywhere. Another scare tactic, says Mark. I'll go back to the box. And by the way, tap the screen. Certainly follow the program on TikTok and subscription on YouTube, if you will. In regards to scare tactics, I'm going to admit myself personally, I'm confused at this point. And I'll tell you from the left side of me, where I was told a hell of a lot of predictions were scare tactics. Such as many folks were, well, if Trump gets elected, yeah, DJ Julio, thank you for the hat and mustache. Many folks are saying, well, if Trump gets elected, the Democrats are saying they're going to roll back Roe versus Wade. That's been adjudicated 50 years ago. That's never going to happen. It's Democratic fear-mongering until it happened. Same thing now that children are being slowly but surely forced to participate in Christianity practices. Everybody would have said that was fear-mongering 5-10 years ago until it now happens. So I've got to admit, I'm a little bit confused when anybody's saying that something is fear-mongering anymore, because we are slowly but surely seeing things change that nobody would have ever predicted. Forcing kids to read the Bible? Who the hell would have predicted that? Literally going in schools and forcing your kid to read the Bible, whether they want to or not, the hell what religion they are part of. In 2024, forcing the kid to read the Bible. You tell me you would have thought that is, that's going to happen. No, you would have said it was fear-mongering. Anyone that supports Trump would have said any liberal predicting that is crazy as hell. But now it's happening. So I'm not really confident anymore when folks say things are fear-mongering. I mean, we're seeing some pretty far-right stuff happening pretty quick. In addition to how they ruled on Trump's immunity. Anybody would have predicted that? All of the legal eagles, all of the political analysts were saying that they weren't going to rule where Trump gets any immunity at all. They were going to laugh that out. Most folks didn't believe the Supreme Court was even going to take an immunity plea to begin with. It was laughable that a president was actually trying to suggest they had immunity until it happened. So I'm just going to be honest. I'm no longer comfortable suggesting that anything is fear-mongering anymore, because we've had some really big changes in a very short period of time happen that everyone, and I'm talking right side of the aisle, left side of the aisle, and in between, would have said, this is not going to happen. Anybody telling you that it is on some bullshit until it happened. Going back to the box, we'll keep it moving with G Money. G Money, one of my favorite characters in a movie. I'm sure a lot of you folks know who G Money is. My brother's keeper. DJ Julio, good afternoon. Thank you for that hat mustache once again. G Money, good afternoon.
Hey, how are you doing today?
I'm doing my... I will ask you real quick. Have you ever heard of the phrase, am I my brother's keeper?
I have heard of that phrase.
Have you ever heard of it in reference to G Money?
No, I haven't. Where does that come from?
Right. It's in a movie where he was shot in the head before that.
Oh, man.
All right. So it's a movie called New Jack City. Yeah, it's a movie called New Jack City. Came out in the 90s, starring Wesley Snipes. But he was asking, the guy had a gun to his head, and he asked him, am I my brother's keeper? And he shot him in the head and followed up by saying, yes, I am. So what do you think about Biden, though? Wow. DJ.
Wow.
So,
well,
go ahead.
Let me tell you what I think about Biden. Well, you know what? He did terrible in those debates.
Yeah.
He's old.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of things in there. I'm not necessarily a Biden fan, but I'll tell you one thing. If it's a choice between Biden or Trump, there is no way will I ever vote for Trump.
What's so bad about Trump?
Well, Trump, first of all, not the first, is a Project 2025. He is trying to run as far away from Project 2025 because the people are now getting wind of what Project 2025 is all about. And Trump has got over 7 people in his administration previously, and they are still in it now, that are from the Heritage Foundation. Yeah. So for him to say, oh, I don't know anything about it, or I don't believe in some of their policies. Well, yeah, he may not believe in some of them, but that means he believes in some of them also.
Yeah, and I see the comments on YouTube. Earth Stark says Trump just commented on Project 2025, said he has nothing to do with it. I will just say this, just like with Biden saying he had a bad day and it's not, how he normally is. When Trump says he doesn't have anything to do with Project 2025, it's just like Biden. Nobody believes that. I don't think hardly anybody.
He doesn't believe it because he's been a keynote speaker for over 3 different. I guess I don't know what they have in their conventions that they've had. He knows the president of the Heritage Foundation. So for him to even say that he knows nothing about it is a bunch of bull. The platform for Project 2025 has been around for years. It's a conservative platform that they've been giving people. Now, it just so happened they think, the Heritage Foundation thinks that Trump is the ideal candidate, that so they can get all of their elements of Project 2025 deemed to pass. They already started to work on the Supreme Court. That is part of Project 2025. This police immunity, that Agenda 47 that Trump has, that's all part of Project 2025.
It's crazy now. I've brought up the police immunity thing on my program several times. Most MAGA do not agree with giving the police immunity, but they know Trump said it, and the response is just, well, you can't really do that. Just like all the other things I mentioned that we've been saying that Trump can't do. I will say this in defense of Trump, giving Trump credit. If there is one thing I don't ever feel confident saying about Trump anymore is he can't do that. I mean, it started out with 91 charges. Looks like he's going to beat them all. I was one of the biggest ones saying there's no way in hell he's going to beat all of these. I don't feel confident at this point ever saying Trump can't do something because he's done so many things that everybody said he couldn't do.
Well, exactly. And putting the Supreme Court, like you had mentioned earlier, the Supreme Court being far right. Now, if he gets, let's say, Aliota and Thomas, if they lose him, they get somebody. Oh, we're going to be in trouble for a long time. Yeah. And I just want, I believe what you do. There should be checks and balances. I don't want far right. I don't want far left. But I don't want a dictator. And Trump, and I'm going to say the MAGA group shows the 14 signs of fascism. That there's a plaque that's on.
I've seen it. I've seen it against them when they talk about it.
And I mean, they talk about having the enemy, the press is the enemy of the people. They talk about having slogans, and I mean, just a lot of stuff that Schitzler had did back in his day. You can just see those things coming to fruition now. And people, I mean, a lot of people, they don't pay attention. My kids, I talk to my kids, they don't know anything about all this stuff. You ask them Project 2020, I don't know what that is. I never heard of it.
Well, yeah, but that is Biden's fault. That is the liberals' fault. If Trump is suggesting something that is as awful as you're portraying, the liberals need to do a better job in getting that message out there. Run commercials, whatever I mean, Biden got plenty of money. That should be on TV damn near every day.
Well, Lincoln Project is going to start doing that. I've seen some.
Yeah, but the Lincoln Project are conservatives that don't like Trump.
I know, but they're good at. But they know they know what the problems can be. They know how bad. A lot of, like I said, a lot of the Republicans are not MAGA. The MAGA, but that
doesn't take away the fact that Biden is not doing his job. The Lincoln Project is delivering what he should be delivering.
You got 100%. I think one of the things that the Democrats have done such a bad job. Those guys are terrible about spouting how good that Biden has really done for the economy and everything else. When he first took over from the COVID-19, now I can't say that, can I? Pandemic, for the pandemic, everything was a shithole.
Well, let me interrupt you and say this. But one of my callers pointed this out, and I agree with him. Other than getting us out of the pandemic, most of the things that Biden takes credit for, it really didn't affect the average American's life. I mean, the things he's bragging about that he did, the CHIPS Act, the infrastructure bill, most Americans don't feel that. So they're not going to give him a big hoorah for that.
I live in California, and I tell you what, the infrastructure bill, you could see all these new highways going up. They're fixing the roads. They're doing a lot of the different things that what has impacted me. I can see where I live now, and then it doesn't impact me, but I do have three. This first year, I got my 3 new grandbabies, and so women's rights are something that I'm really worried about that Trump is trying to take away, and not just Trump, but the whole MAGA, the whole Project 2025.
But when you say women's rights, you're going to inevitably get the pushback that they're not taking away women's rights. They're just giving the power back to the states where they belong. How do you respond to that?
Well, so what it is, we have 50 different states. So we're going to have 50 different laws based on where you live in the state. If you go to one state, it's going to be one. Another state, it's going to be another one. You know what? I don't believe in submersion. I don't believe in that, but that's not my decision. That's between a woman and her doctor. I want government out of all that crap. I don't want them to come for me and say, hey, you know what, we're going to have you do some snip, snip, snip because, you're causing babies to be born and stuff. And then, or, some abortions and stuff like that. So, we just need to keep government out of that. It's not my decision. It's not your decision. It's not the state's decision. I don't want the state government to say anything either. Because you got places like Alabama and everything else, and those guys are just way out there. So that's why that needed to be a rule that was more of a federal rule to protect women's, and it's more their body autonomy.
I got to move it on, but I would say blame that on Ruth Bader Ginsburg. She knew she was getting old, decided to hang around to the end, kind of like what Biden may be doing if you had some people. She should have stepped down. She's the reason you got a 6-3 majority.
Yeah, but there's also, how about, what's his name?
Mitch McConnell.
Mitch McConnell. Come on, they're playing dirty.
Yeah, he's involved. He's involved in
dirty politics. Yeah. That should have already been somebody there. So, I guess you got.
You win that one though. Mitch McConnell, certainly what he did was corrupt by blocking a legitimate pick. I can't argue with that. I appreciate you coming through though, G Money. New Jack City is the movie. You'll know right away who I'm talking about.
You have to watch it, handsome.
It's a good movie.
Very much. You have a nice day now.
All right, it is a cult classic, New Jack City. Looking in the comments, Chris Adams on YouTube. I would love to talk to you. Says the host, DJ Julio, supporting the program. Thank you. Absolutely. Thank you very much, DJ. Chris Adams on YouTube says, this host is biased. He only lets Democrats on the phone pushing the same talking points over and over. Now, actually, that's not true. I think anybody who's been watching the program 3+ years know that I bring up everyone. As I say, left of Bernie Sanders to him having dinner with Q. And I get Q folks on the program all the time. So I'm going to assume you are newer to the program, Chris. If you come on YouTube where you're hearing the audio, or TikTok rather, the audio you're hearing is coming from TikTok. The callers you're hearing are coming from TikTok. I see your name in the box, Chris, give you preferential treatment, at least 5+ minutes or more. Just to show you how this is done. But no, Chris, I don't hold punches on MAGA at all. I let MAGA up anytime. Looking in the comments, host is in the mafia. Wow, okay, didn't expect that. Someone from California calling someone else out. There is that is too funny. Someone from California calling someone else out. How? You telling me California is so bad they can't complain about anything? That doesn't make any sense. So California's got nothing right now. Okay, all right. California loves women's rights. There you go. And I do believe that a woman would do better in terms, if a woman is concerned about losing rights, she would do better in California than any other Republican state. If that is her primary reason why she's voting, not the economy or taxes or any of that shit, her primary reason for voting in November is to maintain rights as a woman. California would be far, far better of a choice for her than most Republican states. So there you go. Okay, downloading TikTok. Chris Adams, if I see you, you're on. Killing a baby is not a right, says, I guess the argument, and I'll go to the box, in regards to killing a baby is not a right and things like, no, first of all, abortion is not a constitutional right. 100% agree with you there. But the argument is, it's a woman that is 6 weeks pregnant. Is that a baby? Yeah, it will become one, but is it a baby right now? It's kind of like saying if you take out a caterpillar, you're killing a butterfly. It's not a butterfly right now. Butterflies can fly. Caterpillars can't. So if you're saying taking out a caterpillar right now is killing a butterfly, all right, then let me give you the caterpillar, throw it in the air, and let's see how far it can fly. Why is it coming right back down to the ground? Because right now it's not a butterfly, still a caterpillar. So the idea that 6-7 weeks of age, a embryo is a baby, my opinion is still in the metamorphosis process, very similar to a caterpillar. It's not a baby at that point. So, and I see in the comments, that's not the same analogy, says empty. Well, let me just say it this way. If we want to suggest that a woman cannot terminate a pregnancy at 6 weeks because it's a baby, what if the woman says, okay, I'm not going to kill my kid since you think it's murdering a baby, but I don't want to be a mom. I'm going to show up at the hospital, 6 weeks pregnant, take it out of me. You can have it. You already said I can put it up for an adoption or whatever. I'm 6 weeks alone. I'm on my way to the hospital. You can sedate me and take it out. After all, it is a baby, right? I don't think it would work that way because they know damn well without this mom, this doesn't survive. It's not a baby right now. And that's the proof. It's because you still need that mom. If something happens to her on the way to the hospital, maybe she's in a car accident or has a heart attack or something, that is overwood for that quote unquote baby at 6 weeks. 0% chance. 0% chance you can save her. You can save that 6 week embryo that's growing. It's not a baby at that point. In fact, it's not a baby. Otherwise, if she says, okay, I don't want to take its life, I'm going to lay down, you do what you got to do, take it out of me right now. The answer from every physician in the game would be, we can't. It's not viable. We can't take it out of you in 6 weeks. It's simply not viable. Then if it's not viable, it's not a baby. Babies are viable. So I don't agree with that argument that at 6 weeks, or some people even saying even further back than that, right at conception. Some people believe it's a baby at conception. 1 or 2 cells that are still dividing. Well, that's a baby. All right, okay, well, you go ahead and kiss it. If you can even see it without a microscope. That's my humble opinion. I pray to God he gives you all the understanding, says Anthony Coffey. When I read history of just American history, not to mention world history, when I read American history, I don't think God will ever make me understand that shit. So you can keep praying, and I do appreciate your prayer for me. It can't harm me, but if God allowed all of that, I don't know where you're going to step up. I mean, everything from the Holocaust on back. I don't think God is really going to interfere with it. Going back to the box, the one and only DJ Julio indeed. Thank you for your support as always. DJ Julio always shows the program some love. Good afternoon, Julio. You've been tuned in. What am I getting wrong, Julio? Hold on.
I don't think you have anything to worry about.
Okay, wait a minute. I'll let you continue as always. First of all, I got someone on the YouTube side that's saying I'm biased and I don't let Maga talk. Explain. Is that true?
I heard that. Was that Chris?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's bullshit.
You're a Maga, correct?
100%. You just have a lot more well, I would say left-leaning people getting up in the box today. That's all.
Yeah. That's one. I don't get that very often, but I assume he's new to the program, which made him say.
Yeah, he's got to be.
Yeah. Okay, but anyway, so what am I getting wrong?
Well, you're still voting for Biden. That's one thing.
I got people in the box right in the comment section right now calling me Sambos and every damn thing, so they disagree.
Oh, no, I see it. Yeah. You know, and I was gonna say this, the last one. You know what? You know, I know you're uncensored and you allow people to say what they want to say, but I think you should give it some thought. And maybe if they're gonna come up here and they're gonna talk racist shit, they just need to get the hell out. And
give me some examples.
We just block them.
Elaborate.
Calling you Jim Crow and Uncle Tom and. It's just there ain't no reason for the racism. So if you're gonna do that shit, if I was your moderator, I'm knocking them fuckers out the box. They ain't talking.
Them just friendly black people. I don't have a moderator. That's how, when I say we're uncensored, I don't have a moderator. The program is open.
I know that. I'm just saying, if I was your moderator, I'd be not letting them people be on because racism don't play no part in any of this life.
Well, I will, and I agree with you about. I'm no fan of racism, but I will tell you this: I've had dozens of folks email me. Most of them are African American. They'll tell, I saw the red hat, the Maga hat, and I thought you was a sellout. I apologize now. I actually listened to the program. You're not what I thought. So it's just people who tune in, they scroll up, see a black man, see a red hat, and they go from that. So I've had people who actually listen, and then they come back and later apologize. So I don't block them. They say what you want to say.
Yeah, it just annoys me. I sit in there and I read it, and it's like, man, I want to punch him in the mouth for saying shit like, and they're saying it now. I'm Maga. I'm so used to racism. Trump is racist. Show me one thing where Trump's been racist in his life, and I might say he had a racist. I
don't think you would, Julio. Trump has said some racially suspicious stuff, and people just discount it. The Central Park 5 routinely comes up. Are you aware of what happened with that?
Yeah, educate me.
5 African American children, because they were all juveniles, were tried and convicted of killing a young white woman. And Trump took out a full ad in the New York Times. So when you open the paper up, the middle of it, where you got to pay the most amount of money for the 2 pages, suggesting that those folks should be hung. Turned out they were not guilty of this at all. The police used all kinds of tactics such as sleep deprivation, interviewed them for hours on end. Their parents were not around. They lied and told them if they confessed to rape and murder, they could go home. And they convicted all 5 of them. And Trump is in the paper saying they should be hung. And when he found out they were innocent, he actually doubled down on his statement.
Well, I would agree with him if they were in fact guilty of that.
He knows they're not. They've been freed.
Right, but he's standing on his statement. The statement is correct, I believe, 100%. If I felt that way about anybody, didn't matter their color, I still stand on, when you find those people need to be hung.
No. He was talking about the ones they had.
I'd have to read that because I've never seen that. I've heard of the Central Park 5.
Yeah. That's what
I've heard the state.
Okay, let me give you another one. He was actually had to settle out of court because it was proven that they were not renting the folks of color in his apartment complexes. They were putting the letter C on rental applications to indicate the prospective renter was a person of color. In a court of law, he lost long before the witch hunt, long before he was in politics. He lost in a court of law that they were not renting to black people.
Well, I wonder if that C meant colored or if it meant convict. I don't know. We've all made stupid shit in business. Come on. If we look at from the time that he became a candidate for presidency to where he's at now, okay. There's still not a bone in my body that doesn't think he's the best man for the job.
Well, I'm just simply saying, when you started out by saying Trump never did anything racist, my response to you was, I don't think you care if he did. And when you start saying, he lost in court. So he clearly wasn't saying convict. He lost the case in court back when he was the shit. This is not when there was a anti-Trump bias. This is when he ruled New York, when he was the king of New York. He lost a racist court case in court.
Wow, that sucks.
Yeah. So the idea he never did anything racist, it's because if you watch right-wing media...
I own a rental too, Tim, and there's a lot of people I don't rent to based on, who they are as a person.
And you routinely discriminate against people of color?
I don't routinely discriminate anybody except for dirtbags.
Well, he was found in a court of law to be doing just that.
Well, that's like the liable charge that he got for some girl who said something that never really happened, that she claims did without a shadow of a doubt. And, between the lawyers, they probably were like, let's just give this girl some money. I'll settle for libel. That's fine. Whatever.
Okay, well, I can't speak on that, but
a lot of people do that, though, Tim. In the United States, not just Donald Trump. A lot of people do settle, out of court or in court because the money's worth, it's not worth the fight. Let's just pay them. What do they want?
Okay, hang on real quick. I'll continue talking to you. Panther Boss on YouTube, you're saying Trump is not part of Project 2025. Don't keep typing the same comment. I'm trying not to block you, but you're preventing other folks from responding. So you've got your point across. Leave it at that. We've already talked about it. So at the end of the day, with Trump, here's another one I brought up. I got an actual video on this because it does apply to folks saying, like what you're saying, Trump has never said anything racist. Him tweeting out that black people are responsible for 81% of white homicides when it's actually 51%. How do you view that?
I view it as a percent game. I mean, 81 is only 30% more.
Then 15? Wait. What math are you? The actual number.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said 51%.
No, 15%. Blacks 15%. Kill blacks. Whites kill whites. You kill who you around. So right. 15%. The FBI, because this is Trump being interviewed by Bill O'Reilly. And Bill O'Reilly even told him, what you're tweeting out, people are going to say you're a racist. Bill O'Reilly said, I've known you for 30 years, you don't have a racist bone in your body. But he said, tweeting out stuff like this actually leaves you exposed to people thinking you're a racist. He tweeted out that if you are white and you are executed or you're murdered, basically, you're a victim of a homicide, there's an 81% chance that a black person did it, when the reality is only a 15% chance. How do you personally believe African Americans should take that?
Well, they know their truth. I mean, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with what he said. I mean, if that's not the truth, then that shouldn't have never been said. You know, I agree with you that
Should
way.
he apologize?
We've had that conversation about apologies. Apologies ain't worth shit.
So just leave a horrible comment out there like that. Then if he says it and he doesn't apologize, then what are blacks supposed to do with it? Maybe they think he meant it.
I would encourage you to look at what I'm doing physically rather than what I'm saying.
So if I say something racist, as long as I'm doing things for you, I should be able to just say whatever I want?
Well, I mean, sometimes you don't word things right and it comes out misunderstood.
How is that misunderstood?
I didn't want to even say that word because I know how that goes. And no, I'm not saying you got to take everything that Trump says with a grain of salt. I mean, I take everything that anybody says with a grain of salt till I know my own facts and know my own heart on it.
But this one here is particularly concerning, Julio, because I don't see any legitimate reason why he would tweet something like that out in the first place. By the way, like I said, because so many people always ask me, what has Trump ever did or said? I actually have a video on YouTube that says Trump has never said anything racist. So if you go to YouTube, type in a handsome liberal, it's titled, Trump has never said anything racist. You can watch the interview, about 3 or 4 minutes long, between him and Bill O'Reilly, where Bill O'Reilly is even telling him, it really troubles me that you would send something out like this, because there's no legitimate reason to do it.
I mean, there's no legitimate reason. No, I mean, only he knows what his reasoning is. I don't know. I don't agree with him saying that, but that doesn't mean that I don't think he's capable of running our country better than anybody we have on the board right now.
Yeah, but there are racists that ran the country well. That doesn't mean he's not racist. I mean, you could be racist and good at running the country.
I mean, exactly.
Right.
I choose not to focus on the dumb shit that people say and focus on their actions, and it seems to get me a lot further in my life, at least.
Well, but maybe racism is not something that you have a major concern with. Somebody else may have been a victim of it.
I don't. I mean, if I see somebody being racist or I have somebody around me being racist, I told you how Gen X handles it. Talk shit, get hit.
Right.
We don't put up with that shit.
Yeah, but what about the 80-year-old that can't live a life of stop shit, get hit?
Well, then that 80-year-old needs to find somebody younger that can, hit somebody for him.
Or not vote for Trump.
Well, I mean, if that's what you think is best for your country, if you can honestly think putting a puppet, a damn marionette that has freaking all the answers, all the questions, all the stuff on the first debate when they weren't supposed to have shit. If you think that's your best president and your best choice, you've got bigger problems than you think you do.
Yeah, I mean, I get your point, but you understand when I'm saying that what Trump says do matter to people. I get your point, as long as he's running the country well, you're pretty much looking at it from an approach of, I don't give a damn what he says. But some people do, Julio. Some people actually care what's coming out of his mouth.
Yeah, no, and it goes for you too, Tim. I mean, I don't care. I care about the context of what you're saying because I can see it by what you're doing on this platform, on this live, on these with your guests that you talk to, the way that you put up with certain shit from certain people. You may defend a MAGA one day, but you might hammer that MAGA the next day. It doesn't. Same with a liberal. You might hammer a liberal today and be called a MAGA a mega plant, whatever they want to call it.
I've had people ask me how much is Trump paying me. I've actually had people say that.
That's what I'm getting at. I mean, people can say whatever they want to say, but show me your actions. Show me who you are. Show me your character by your actions, and you do that.
Well, I appreciate I certainly appreciate the verbiage, but I gotta say this from a presidential level, Julio. You can get people killed based on your words. Trump, for instance, you say, pay attention to what he does, not what he says. He didn't do anything in regards to the election. January 6th is solely based on what he said. That happened based on nothing that he actually did. He didn't present a whole lot of proof for it. It was simply based on what he said. That whole event is based on words that came out of his mouth. So words can really cause a lot of damage. I don't just believe you should ignore words.
Are we talking about the park event or the Capitol event?
I'm talking about just the people showing up in D.C. to begin with.
Oh, well, yeah. What they do after that, everybody in this world has free will. That's one thing God gave us all equally.
Julio, they wouldn't be there, though. If he hadn't said the election was stolen, those folks were not going to show up to D.C. in mass like that.
Man, he could have just said he was coming to have a talk, and they would have showed up that.
But that ain't what he said. That is not what he said. And you know that.
I know it's not what he said, but you know what I'm saying. If Trump is going to speak somewhere, there's going to be a mass of people there anyway.
Yeah, but Trump has held a lot of rallies with large numbers, and it's never turned into a violent event. So obviously something happened differently on January 6th. It was what was being said.
Play that back. He has held a lot of rallies saying the same shit, doing the same shit, and he doesn't have any violence.
No, because he didn't.
Washington, and all of a sudden now we have incidents.
Yeah, and it's obvious why. The people that you are saying stole the election, they're in that building. I want you to go to that building. You can go there peacefully, but I want you to go to the building where all the criminals are. He don't say that at any of the other rallies. Now we actually have access to the people he's telling us that are doing us wrong. They're in that building, and he's telling us, go to the building, and I'm going to come there with you. He don't say that at other rallies.
He said, be peaceful. We're going to have to fight like hell for this. I will always hear your points because you have some valid statements when it comes to J6.
Thank you.
But you will never ever convince me that he had anything to do with it. You'll never stop my mind from wondering if Antifa and some other bad actors were part of this.
I get that. But you know what I always say? I'm willing to be on your side if I see evidence. If Antifa was the one that did all of that, I need to see evidence of it. I hear somebody showed up and they changed clothes and they got off a bus. That doesn't say anything. Where is the evidence that it was Antifa? Show me somebody that has Antifa all over their Facebook page, like they've shown with people with Maga all over their Facebook page, that was there present on January 6th.
What's happening in the courts right now?
What do you mean?
A lot of those guys are getting out of jail for free.
Okay. What does that mean?
Well, obviously it means they weren't bad actors. They weren't doing anything wrong.
Hell, they got people on the first 48 that get out of jail, Julio. Just because you get out. How many folks you guys bitch about that liberal judges are letting people out early? Getting out of jail early don't mean anything. You got immigrants that are murdering people that get out of jail early.
They're not getting out of jail just early, Tim. They're getting out of jail with no charges.
Yeah, that happens sometimes. The courts is not perfect.
To the innocent, yeah. If you're innocent, you get let out of jail for sure. For sure with no charges.
So you're saying that the majority of them have been let out of jail with no charges?
There was 42 of them that they were talking about when we were driving back east when I was having a hard time with my service.
Okay.
I was watching when I couldn't talk to you. I went through and I started watching all this stuff, and it's some circuit court. I can't remember which circuit court, but if you type in circuit court J6 jail release, you'll find all the information. I think it's like 42 people got released, no charges.
Well, I'm going to tell you, just like you guys say about liberal judges and judges in the pocket of immigrants, there are judges, I believe, that are in the pocket of the protesters.
Supreme Court.
Huh?
Supreme Court, that's what it was.
Well, like I said, just like you guys believe there are judges in the pocket of liberals and doing things for Biden, the weaponized DOJ, there are right-wing judges. I mean, Alito, if you had a lower-level judge that thinks like Alito or thinks like Clarence Thomas, I think you could be on photo ripping Nancy's desk apart and they would let you out. I mean, I can see why some of them are getting out. There are right-wing judges out there.
Well, I mean, yeah, but then you also have, the stuff that NP said, about having to actually, now she's going to end up having to stand up and accept that she was responsible, that it was her lack of organization that the National Guard wasn't brought to J6.
I've heard so many people saying that. I don't believe you'll ever see Nancy Pelosi.
You haven't seen the video?
No, I haven't seen it. I would like to see it.
She's talking straight to her daughter. I watched the whole damn video and was like, well, I'm sure Tim will talk about this someday.
Send it to me, because you're not the first person to mention it, but I will say this. Here's where I have an issue, because there's no shortage of liberals that says Trump lied about the election. The minute somebody says, well, I'm responsible for January 6th, now all of a sudden it's the God honest truth. All of the other stuff the liberals say, we don't believe it's a witch hunt, they're making it up. But the minute one of them say I'm responsible for January, oh, she's telling the truth now. I don't know where to go with that.
Well, if she was saying the opposite and now she comes forward and says the truth, I mean, that would be okay. Now you're being honest. But before, the witch hunt against Trump, yeah. The witch hunt against this, yeah. Nancy said the same thing. It's a witch hunt, yeah. But now she's saying she has to take responsibility. What's she gonna do? She's actually sounds really scared talking to her daughter.
Yeah, like I said, I'll have to see it, but I'm under the belief that Maga, like yourself, would not normally believe anything that Nancy Pelosi or her daughter, who did a really good documentary, by the way, but I don't think you guys would believe anything that they normally say, but because this is beneficial to how you think, you're going to point it out. All the other stuff they say is all made up and is lies.
Well, and a lot of it is proven. You said it before I even came up. You don't think that any of these charges are going to stick, which is why I gave myself till August. Yeah. In order to pay for that.
I think you may actually escape that shit. I think at this point, if Biden gets elected, yeah, Trump may be held accountable for something, but if Trump wins, yeah, he ain't. I would say this, because Trump currently officially has 34 felonies on him. If Trump gets elected, he won't even be a felon anymore. I feel confident saying that. All of that will be thrown out. If Trump becomes president, they will find a way to throw that whole case out.
No, I don't disagree, but I want to test something real quick. I see a lot of people are like, get off of here, get away from him. If you guys want me off of this live, I need to see you at 120,000. I'll get off at 120,000, Tim.
Oh, I like that. Okay. Yeah. And real quick in the comments, Moogly on YouTube says you're contradicting yourself. So there's somebody. Good. Free Black Lives Matter and Antifa. Thanks, SCOTUS. What Black Lives Matter and Antifa are not in jail, are they? What do you mean? Oh, I get the point. What he's saying is, for the whole time, you guys have been suggesting that what happened on January 6th was Antifa and Black Lives Matter, while simultaneously acting like you support what happened on January 6th, which really doesn't make any sense. You're saying that all of this is Antifa and Black Lives Matter, but then you're speaking positive. Like if Trump said, we love you, go home. So why would you say you love a group of Antifa?
Because when he was saying that, he was talking to the group of people that were praising him in the speech garden, wherever the hell they were. I can't even remember where they were. It was so damn long ago. And irrelevant to me in my life, because it was clearly a setup. It was clearly just all to make Republicans look like shit, and make brown people like me that are Republican try to feel like shit. Doesn't work here though. I mean, January 6th at the Capitol sucked for everybody involved. It wasn't a good thing. It wasn't a good optic for the Republicans. It wasn't
the fact that it sucked and it wasn't a good optic, and then Trump is saying it's a good day and we love you and called it a love fest, that ain't a good optic either. But I gotta move it on. They did reach your 120K and they want me to do what you said. So
that was fast.
Yeah, they don't like your ass.
well, shit. Let me reiterate. And let's go 130. I know. You got to go. I'm just. All
right. Appreciate it, though, Julio. Thanks for the support, man. Always.
I support you because I like the way you talk to people. These guys in the comments, they don't have to like me. I'm okay without that. I'm okay with that.
Yeah. You are my biggest supporter, man. You and Gen X, by the way, both MAGA supports the program more than the liberals.
We like honest talk, my friend. We like honest talk. We want honest communication. That's what we want.
Thank you. Well, thank you for the support. Moving the program on, by the way. What did I say? Love in the Woods. Lisa, thank you. I also appreciate your support as well. Now that I can agree with, especially as after, what it says, Lisa and Coach Jeff says, now that I can agree with, especially as an afterthought. I'm assuming you're talking about, what is it? Luigi says, leave already. Goddamn, please go, says Red. Why is he still here, says C. Anderson? Man, you guys hate Julio. Gosh. Julio's a big supporter of the program. Thank you, Scam Likely. Yeah, that was an actual name, an alter ego, another individual that supports the program regularly. A Scam Likely. His actual name. You know, we all turn down the calls from Scam Likely. MAGA and honesty equals two things that couldn't be further apart. Damn. Real quick in the comments, we don't want you off. Just go get educated on both sides. That came from Red Hammer on YouTube. Thank you for that. Lemonade, that cool, refreshing drink, Captain. Thank you. Going back to the box, we'll keep it moving with Gen X also. Like I said, big supporter of the program. Gen X, good afternoon. Gen X, you also, just like Julio's the perfect guy to bring up, because once again, I was accused of being biased and not taking callers from MAGA. Gen X, what say you?
I say Chris over on YouTube, that's 2 in a row, baby. 2 in a row, and let me say that Julio is the GOAT. And if y'all want me up, I want to see 200K. Let them thumbs not be lazy, baby.
Well, I appreciate this. I appreciate the support for the program. But yeah, both of you folks, both you and Julio are regular. Not only do you contribute to the program, but you're regular callers to the program. So the idea that we don't take MAGA, we get, I can't even think of some of the names. We get MAGA Truth that comes on the program. We get a lot of folks that do represent MAGA that comes on. So I don't know why.
How was your 4th of July, Tim? Before we get into business, how was your 4th of July, brother?
I didn't do much. I ate good. Went out for some barbecue and all. I ate good, but I didn't, because my birthday was only a few days before it, so it was good. It was all right.
Did you go have that steak?
Yes, I've had 2 since we talked. Thank you, by the way, for that support. That certainly made that more. I had not a prime rib. I can't even think of the cut of it I just had. I had 2 steaks since then. So your boy's eating good. DJ Julio, by the way, thank you. Yeah, your boy's eating good.
Fattening you up, man. Fattening you up.
I don't know if my doctor or my cardiologist would agree with all that red meat, but damn does it taste good going down. So what I want to ask you, though, is Project 2025. Have you heard about that?
That's kind of new to me. I just recently started to read on it. I didn't really know what it was until it started coming up in TikTok. I heard about it, but it was like, I didn't think it was a big deal.
Damn, Andy. Thank you. And I want to say real quick, wow, Andy threw me off with that, but thank you, Andy. It's a damn shame that you haven't heard of that. And I get a lot of folks, particularly on the right, because Fox News and OAN and Newsmax ain't going to cover it, but Biden should be. There are so many folks that have never heard of Project 2025. Now, whether it's real or not, we can talk about it, but it does exist. It's documented. There are plenty of right-wing politicians. We know that the Heritage Foundation is behind it. And there's so many Americans that don't know about this. This is why Biden saying he needs to go to bed at 8 o'clock at night and things like that make him in my opinion, not a good candidate, because he should be singing the tune about this stuff all over the place. What have you heard about it?
Well, I know very little about it. I don't want to sound ignorant, and I do that well on my own without talking about something I don't know about. You know what I mean? But which would lead me to my next point. I don't think it's unfeasible to think that Trump doesn't know anything about Project 25. Listen to what he said. He said, I know nothing about Project 2025. He never said, I've never heard of it. He said, I know nothing about it. I don't know what it is, who's behind it. I disagree with some. Some of the shit they say is ridiculous and abysmal.
best of luck to him, but I don't have nothing to do with him.
Well, first of all, why would you, if you think it's ridiculous and abysmal, an alter ego with the galaxy, that didn't go unnoticed. Thank you. If you believe it's abysmal and ridiculous, as Trump stated, why would you also then follow it by saying best of luck to them? I mean, you think they're trying to implement an abysmal and ridiculous plan for America, then why the hell are you wishing them best luck?
I had a guy running to my car, all right? And at the end of the day, when the police report was done, I said, man, best of luck to him.
Yeah, but that's an accident. What if he runs into your car in DJ? Thank you. What if he runs into your car intentionally, though? You're going to wish him good luck?
Yeah, good luck. I hope you got insurance.
you and Julio, you guys can find your way out of quicksand. You guys are always good on this. So, President Biden, is he in denial?
I think so, man. I think so. He's, I mean, look, you had if the debate didn't convince you, the next day he came out and said, I'm going to see Trump and beat him in 2020. And I thought about you the second I saw that thing. I was like, oh, dear God.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily believing that Biden can give us another 4 years. However, as I mentioned, the Project 2025 and things like that, because you're saying you believe it's possible Trump didn't know about it, fair enough. But I think there's enough folks on the right that do know about it now to ask the obvious question. Now that you do know about it, and I'm talking about people who know maybe more about it than you do, why is there no outcry? I mean, if you thought the left was going to, let's say, for instance, force transgender issues on children, there would be outcry everywhere. Project 2025 is pretty damn awful. And there's virtually no outcry from the right, considering that well-known, well-established right-wing politicians are part of this, including the Heritage Foundation and McCarthy. People who served in Washington, served in the Trump administration. There's no outcry. That's frightening.
Yeah, again, I don't know enough about it, man. I really don't. Yeah. But I've actually got it pulled up on my screen right now. That's a big document, man.
900 pages. It is a right-wing. It's like a blueprint for far-right America.
Now, what my understanding is that it's not a new document. It was put together by a Heritage Foundation conservative think tank back in like 2018 or 2019. So it's nothing new. It's been around for a while.
Yeah, but now that you're right, it's been around for a while. Kind of like you go out and buy a 57 Chevy that you've been trying to restore, but now you got the parts in the garage. So now it's a difference. Before you came home with this piece of shit that looked like a 57 Chevy. Now I've seen you by the doors, the hood, the tires. I know there may be a 57 Chevy coming out of your garage soon. Trump has been in office. He got a Supreme Court that's fairly far to the right. He has the parts in his garage. So it's not, even though you're right, it was around for a while, but now there's enough pieces in place where it can become a reality.
I think he'd be wise to familiarize himself with it. I think that'd be a good move on his part. So when he does talk about it, he can give an educated response and not this kind of half-ass, I don't agree with what they're saying, I do agree with what they're saying, best of luck, blah, 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 whatever, where he can get into the meat of it and say what he disagrees with or he finds abysmal, or I think that'd be to his benefit.
And
not to switch gears on you, but I want to say this. You said when we were talking about the pandemic,
right?
You made the statement that he knows more about the pandemic than anybody else.
He said I know more about COVID than anybody else. Yes.
Okay, now that being said, at the time he was the sitting president of the United States. Can you imagine how much debriefing and information specialists, everybody who knows everything about this, threw into his head, gave him in files and folders, and just the unbelievable amount of information that he got presented to him to debrief him on that pandemic? I don't think it's unfair to say that he may have known quite a bit about that.
There's no way in hell you're going to convince me that Trump knew a lot about COVID when he's throwing parties unmasked when his own advisor is saying wear a mask. You're not even taking...
I'm not saying understood. I'm saying he was presented a lot of information.
Well, if you're not, I mean, it kind of sounds like, your teacher tell you, I think you're smart, but you don't live up to your full potential. I mean, if you're presenting him with information and he's not reading it, then he don't know anything. I mean, he's going on television telling he's got Dr. Fauci standing next to him, telling the American people to wear masks, and then you see him in public without a mask, or he gets vaccinated, but then he doesn't want to tell the people he's been vaccinated. It's like, he starts out by telling the people it'll be gone by April, doesn't explain why, doesn't explain why it didn't go away by April. He didn't know a lot about COVID. I'm just going to tell you, based on what was happening, it's pretty clear he didn't know a lot about COVID.
But to be fair, Fauci did the same shit as far as inconsistencies.
Yeah, but you can get rid of Fauci. Yeah, but you can get rid of Fauci. Yeah, but you can get rid of Fauci. You can't get rid of Trump. Fauci was an advisor. If he don't know what the hell he's talking about, guess whose job it was to reappoint him and get him off TV?
Yeah, Trump's. I agree with that.
Right.
Yep,
Yeah,
absolutely.
so, I mean, with Fauci, with people like Marjorie Taylor Greene suggesting the guy should be incarcerated, you're shooting the messenger. Fauci doesn't make laws. All Fauci does is advise. It's the people who are making the laws you got to hold responsible. He's not the guy that's passing laws. If he's giving bad advice, their job is to put somebody in who knows what the hell they're talking about. If you're holding rallies where everybody's yelling, fire Dr. Fauci, and you're making it clear he don't know what he's talking about, yet you won't reappoint him somewhere else, that makes you look incompetent. You know your defensive coordinator is calling bad plays. Everybody in the stands, everybody on the team tells you suck. But you keep calling the plays that he's giving you, then at some point you're responsible.
Yeah, I think in that case myself, I'd have put Fauci over housing and brought in Carson.
Yeah. Right.
I trust you. What are we dealing with here?
And that's the point I'm trying to make. The idea that we can separate the advisor from the one that's taking the advice and in control of everything makes no sense. You want to reelect Trump, but you want to incarcerate Fauci when they were part of the same team. That doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I see your point. I definitely see your point. It's hard to argue that. It really is. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, you get me next time. I appreciate you coming on as always, Gen X. Thank you for coming through. And you do agree, I don't have a problem talking to the right or the left.
I agree 100%. Tim, have a great day, brother.
Absolutely a pleasure as always. Thank you. Moving the program on, nevertheless, Trump was worried about the election. If Trump fired Fauci during the pandemic, he would have been raked over the coals by the media. Wow, you could be right, but keep in mind, we're talking about a pandemic. We're talking about thousands of people, tens of thousands of people losing their lives. What you're basically saying is Trump was more focused on getting reelected than doing what may have been best for the American people. You're not putting him in a good light with that. Is that his whole purpose was, let me keep my image looking good so I can win again. You're not putting him in a good light. I'm just going to point that out. Good. Look at the production numbers for coins on a U.S. Mint at the beginning. Okay, I don't even know where the hell that's going. Yeah, okay, Tim, more lies. Let me say something real quick. When you guys are being critical, which I don't mind, I'm 100% for free speech. And by the way, if you do enjoy free speech, civilized dialogue from both sides of the aisle without any concern of the host trying to limit your opinions. Follow the program on TikTok, a subscription on YouTube, if you will. I do appreciate that. But when you say, yeah, Tim, more lies, look at the size of the paragraphs people are typing in on YouTube. This is coming from YouTube. Elaborate on it. You can actually say where I'm lying about. I can't do shit with Tim, more lies. Explain a lie. If you're right, I'll concede the point, but you're typing in shit that has no value to it. Looking in the comments, they have a right to lie. Host is lying or misinformation about Fauci. Can somebody explain what did I lie about? Let me know if I'm getting it wrong, and we'll talk about it, but just simply typing in a blank statement. What about Trump took the vaccine and told others not to do? I've made it clear, in my opinion, we can talk about the economy under Trump and there was no global affairs, gas prices. There are things I can see where people are pointing to that's good, but the handling of the pandemic by Trump was abysmal. It was awful. And like you mentioned, what about Trump taking the vaccine and telling others? I don't know if Trump told people not to take the vaccine or not. I'd have to look that up, but he certainly led people to believe it could be harmful. He certainly did not deliver a message. Later on, he did say, take the vaccine, it works, and they booed him and things like that. But in the beginning, he got vaccinated, his family got vaccinated, and they wouldn't even answer questions on whether they have been vaccinated or not. His messaging on COVID was abysmal, which is, in my opinion, why till this day, Maga has a mixed message on the vaccine. I've talked to Maga that's been vaccinated. I've talked to Maga that thinks it's poisonous. Because the messaging that was released from Trump was all mixed around like that. You got Fauci on TV telling you one thing, and then he's at rallies at night trashing the guy. Then he's back on TV the next night standing in unison with Fauci. The messaging was awful. If Fauci don't know what the hell to do, get rid of Fauci. It's as simple as that. He could have done that. You don't be on TV with the guy every day. I mean, his messaging was awful on the pandemic. Looking in the comments, yes, he absolutely would have, because the media has been in charge of Dr. Fauci's position. What? Since Bill Gates took, what the hell? The media has been Dr. Fauci. The media has been in charge of Dr. Fauci's position since Bill Gates took over. The art of virology. Well, like I said, we go left of Bernie Sanders to him having dinner with QAnon. Dr. Fauci's a Fed. Got nothing to do with the media. Dr. Fauci is part of the federal government. The media can be favorable to Fauci, just like the right-wing media was not. But in charge of an FBI position, where are you getting that one from? Each individual human being has their own individual human experiences. We're not all going to agree on everything. Timothy McMahon, I agree with that 100%. Which is why I enjoy having you folks on, because I don't always get it right, and neither do you. It's all about free speech. It's never been a program where we're telling you how to think. It's all about hearing what you have to say. Going back to the box. C. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program. This is Drew. Good afternoon, Drew.
Yeah, I'm on my backup. I have to be this week. Maga's a little mad. What can I say?
Oh, no. So what do you think? Is Biden in denial, Andy?
Well, I mean, the Biden administration's just fine, and we're happy with Kamala Harris. Trump didn't even have an administration, so we don't even know who he would leave the presidency to.
Yeah, that's a good point.
If you listen to the debate without looking at it and just listen to it, Biden answers the questions. Trump doesn't. He dances away from them so far. And then the very next day was DeSantis' revenge. Dropped July 1st. All the Epstein files are online.
I've heard some talk about this. People have been messaging me, asking me, what is in those?
If you get a chance, watch 60 Minutes in Australia. They even trot out Prince Andrew. They don't care. They're not in America. They're not sparing anybody.
Is there anything in there about Trump?
Yeah. That little girl, the 13-year-old.
I see some people in the program today talking about that. And obviously, MAGA's either not aware of it or don't want to discuss it. If it was Biden,
talk about the fact that the architect of Project 2025 was in Donald Trump's cabinet. Donald Trump was at the Heritage Foundation keynote speech talking about how he couldn't have got the tax plan through without help of the Heritage Foundation, and they helped pick the judges.
Yeah, I gotta say, and I don't, when Trump says he doesn't know about Project 2025, I can't, say for certain.
He's full of shit.
Well,
that's what he is.
Well, my point is this. I can't say.
And look, you can say that Biden should be out here hawking 2025. They won't believe it. News has been talking about it for months.
Now, there's a lot of liberals, Andy, that don't know about Project 2025. Everybody don't pay attention to politics like you and I and the viewers do.
I mean, why have they not been paying attention to the news? And I think I will have to look it up, but I think Biden may have mentioned it once. But it's not without notice. And if he told them, who would believe him at that point? I mean, until recently, until the judges did what they did, even I was hoping that it was just a fantasy.
Here's my point.
Bad,
here's my
nobody
point.
wants to believe it.
Here's my point. First of all, the Biden administration, while they still are in control of the Department of Education and things like that, could encourage schools, particularly in liberal states, to do lessons on Project 2025. They could easily get Hollywood, the rap community. I mean, you see Taraji P. Henson, the actress, was at the BET Awards, which most of these folks probably don't watch, but she brought it up. She actually.
Yeah, but I mean, it's been coming out for all year. All kind of people have brought it up.
It ain't coming up enough, Andy. It ain't coming up enough. The system
happened that people believed it. Nobody thought the Supreme Court would give Donald Trump immunity.
True.
Like, even I thought that was crazy.
Yeah.
Even I thought that they wouldn't give him the biggest power grab in U.S. history. I wanted to believe they would not do that to the country, but I was wrong. They absolutely threw us under the bus.
Let me ask you that with the immunity thing. I asked one of the viewers, Dencow, one of my subscribers earlier in the broadcast about this. Now that the Supreme Court is giving the president immunity in defense of Trump, do you believe Biden, before he leaves, should use that immunity, perhaps maybe to prevent Trump from getting reelected?
I think they should make laws to end it before he gets out. And if the Republicans vote against it, that proves everything that we said about them.
But that wouldn't make a difference. I mean, okay, you proved.
Yeah, but I mean, that is the way you get around the Supreme Court, is you put laws in place that cannot be turned over. That's the remedy. And not only that, the other thing that was the shocker was the Chevron case. One or the other would not have given the president the power that taking the 3 name agencies, experts out and placing the judges who know jack in their place, which was the dumbest thing in human history, to make these decisions. The two of those together is what lessened the government. And one or the other may not have been so bad, but both of them were definitely.
But to get clarity, so you do not believe Biden. Let's say, for instance, his advisors. Let's say you were in Biden's position, and your advisors came and told you, we have found a legal loophole where you can now use this immunity to prevent Trump from getting elected. Yes, the public is going to know you used it, but it is legal. You wouldn't do it.
I'd rather he didn't. It's just like pardoning his son. Yeah. Show some damn integrity.
To me, this sounds like when they go low, you go high. I don't think this wins any damn thing.
I don't know, but I don't want a dictator. I don't want a Biden dictator, and I don't want a Trump dictator. I want Congress to do their job and close the loopholes and sew up these laws now.
Yeah, but I don't look. Listen, after the man was able to get immunity and things like that, I think taking a high road, as you're alluding to, in my opinion, maybe I'm wrong. God damn it, I hope I'm wrong. But I think what you're doing is a loser.
Well, I can tell you this: I don't know what he should do or could do because I don't have all the information. I am not one of these people that walk around here saying I know everything, because I fucking don't.
Yeah, but I'm asking you.
There's lots of things that the government knows that I don't know.
Right, but I'm asking you, if you had the power,
that they make the best decision for all of us and do something.
Yeah, but I'm asking you, if you had the power, using this recently granted immunity, your advisors told you, we have come up with a way where we can guarantee you a win, you wouldn't take that.
I don't know.
Let me ask it to you this way. What if Trump's advisors came and told him the same question? What do you think he'd do?
He's morally bankrupt, so, I mean, but...
Yeah, I really think that...
I can't answer that because I don't know everything they know.
All right.
If I did, this might be a different discussion, but I don't. And I
really think that you're trying to play by the rules with somebody that's willing to kick you in the groin. I really do. I mean, which is why I say I think you got somebody who's willing to bite an eye gouge, and you're trying to play by the rules.
I understand that, but also my mom always raised me to say what makes you better than they are if you behave that way. And I pretty much live my life that way. So I have a hard time with breaking that word. Like, I'll tell you if I don't know.
Think you'd have a hard time with think you'd have a hard time with Project 2025?
I think think I would arrest the Heritage Foundation president for threatening the Democrats.
All right, you might want to learn how to eye gouge and bite a little bit.
Well, no, I mean, that's something he could do, because he came out and said something that was a direct threat to the United States of America. We're having a revolution. It'll go on. It's something that we're having a revolution, and it'll be bloodless if the liberals will let it. What kind of nonsense is that?
Yep, I did hear that. I absolutely did hear that. It'll be bloodless.
So when Republicans say we're fear-mongering, miss us with that shit. Y'all are threatening us on national TV.
Yeah, I'm beyond the point. Listen, I mean, I am beyond the point of feeling confident when people say you're fear-mongering. Too many things have already happened and become law at this point to feel confident that it's fear-mongering. I just...
Yeah, like you said earlier. They said Roe versus Wade was fear-mongering, but here we are.
Yeah. At this point, we went fairly far to the right really quick. I mean, I brought up in Louisiana that now you can, at the age of 18, you can carry without it. I think this already happened in a few other states anyway, but
Alabama too.
Yeah, so we're not going left, we're going right.
The Supreme Court said Alabama had to take the Ten Commandments off of the Alabama's courthouse because Roy Moore should not have put them up there. That was public property. And they made Roy Moore take the Ten Commandments down from the state capitol.
No, I didn't hear that.
But here we are putting them back into the Louisiana schools.
Yeah.
I mean, we change out 2 court justices and they rule against their own precedent.
Yeah.
When has that ever happened? They're making laws. They're not out there adjudicating the Constitution. They are literally making law, which is something they're not supposed to be doing. That's the legislative job.
Yeah. At this point, like I said, I'm not confident anything is fear-mongering anymore. We've seen some stuff that I know for a fact, doing this for 3 years, that I've heard from Maga say that that's liberal fear-mongering, that can't happen. And when it does happen, stuff is changing.
You know the judge that said Trump wasn't going to go to jail? Guess where he was? He's in the Epstein files. Dershowitz. Of course he is.
Yeah.
Because, let's just face it, every Republican accusation is a damn confession.
Well, right now you got to admit it.
Messing with the little kids. No, we're not. It's y'all.
But let me ask you
Democrats
this.
are cheating on the election. No, it's not. It's y'all.
But let me ask you this, Andy. When Trump stated, if you elect me, you're going to get tired of winning. Was he not right or was he not right?
Oh, it depends on what he considers winning. I'm tired of losing. Damn.
He's talking about his supporters.
Cut it out.
His supporters is doing a good... they're winning, though, are they not?
I don't think they... Look, some of them think they're winning, but some of these cases that just got proved, some of these people aren't winning. And MAGA women, you are the ones who are going to lose the most.
I don't think they see it that way. There's a lot of...
Well, you know what? They might need to... Look, just like you said, Biden should go up there and tell them, well, if they're not going to see it that way, it ain't going to help. They need to wake the hell up and realize that this is coming for all of us. Trump said it on 2 separate occasions. Bannon said it, and Roger Stone said it. In the leaked audio from Steve Bannon, where he was telling how Trump was going to steal the election, the October before the November election.
Yeah, and I want to read this comment.
He said that Trump won't ever have to go to his voters for approval again. Roger Stone said out in front of the White House on January 6th that after Trump gets reelected, he can tell his voters to kick rocks.
Damn. That sounds like a king.
Yeah. But
that also sounds like you're not going to need voters anymore.
Exactly. They're not going to believe what is happening right in front of their eyes until it happens to them, and it's too late because they love that man so much. They will listen to anything he says, and they don't care.
But Andy, I've been told since I've been doing this program that the Second Amendment protects us from ever having a tyrannical government.
Yeah, is that why I saw 150 of the Patriot group with masks around their face and upside down flags marching through Nashville this weekend?
Yeah.
Hundreds of them, and they want to talk about, we ain't the KKK, really? Really? Because I could have sworn that's exactly what they look like on those streets.
Yeah, and I will tell you, but I got to move it on before I let you go. I will tell you the KKK was saying they weren't the KKK either. I mean, that's the issue. Is what makes it difficult to detect this stuff. Is nobody. It's not like Fight Club. We don't talk about Fight Club. Most of the folks that participate in this stuff will tell you that I'm not for this. I'm not a racist. I'm not this. So they don't admit it. So it is very difficult to even figure it out.
But I just want you to know, with all those things going on, yeah, Biden might be a little bit in denial, but Trump supporters slap are in the dark.
Damn.
Because if Epstein files break and, you know, Project 2025's president's threatening people, we see 25 pictures with him and the architect of Project 25 while he's saying he don't know nothing about it, who was actually in his cabinet. You know, I would think that they're ignoring something that's a little bit more dangerous than what we're ignoring, because we still have Kamala Harris.
All right, I'll speak on the other side, but I agree with you. If the pictures come out, it's not going to mean anything. But Andy, appreciate you coming through. All right, and the reason why I'm saying that, let's say Trump comes out with photos with Epstein. I'll tell you why. And by the way, tap the screen. Wow, 163,000. Go ahead and make it 175. You guys have been finally really good on that. So thank you for tapping the screen. Go ahead and get the likes up to 200 on TikTok. Sean B, thank you for the super chat, says, pardon your boy Biden. Trump would do it for Ivanka. 120% agree with that shit. If you're in Biden's shoes, now my last caller, Andy, believes that President Biden should not pardon his son. You know, he did the crime, let him do the time. Hell no. That's my opinion. We've discussed it, so I'm not just talking about it while we're off air. But I've talked to her about it. There's no way in hell, if I'm 80-some years of age, I'm going to let my son go down on a conviction that I know he's only receiving because I'm president. If President Biden had not run for president, even with Hunter Biden doing that, he would not be being charged with that shit. He'd pay a lawyer. They'd make a deal behind the scenes. The whole sweetheart deal that was thrown out that he was about to get, he would have got it. The reason that stuff didn't go through is because they don't like his dad. So there's no way in hell I'm gonna let my son, if I'm 80-something years old dealing with my last years on earth, I'm gonna let my son go down for this. It's only happening because of me. And I can pardon him. No, I'm not gonna let him go down. Not to mention with Hunter Biden being an addict, prison's not a good place for addicts. I mean, it's depressing and there's plenty of drugs available. If you want your child to stay straight, sending them to prison is not the best place for them. It is what it is. And you don't get much help for addiction in prison. There's not a lot of people who come out a changed man when they go in there. Why do you think the recidivism rate is so damn bad? So if you can pardon your son for something like that, a victimless crime, I would certainly pardon my son. And I feel confident that Trump would do it, as somebody stated, for his daughter, or he would do it for Eric or Donald Jr. as well. What you say, the same thing for normal people, kids going to jail. What I say, if a person lied on a gun application like Hunter Biden did, had the gun for I think 11 days, did not commit any crimes with the gun at all. The only crime he committed was getting the gun. Yeah, for a normal person, I would think that they don't deserve any time for that. For a normal person, I wouldn't mark somebody's record up with a felony for that. I just don't think, because a felony, how long does a felony, about 7 years, I think it is? Illegal gun possession on your record as a felon for 7, no, I don't think what he did fits that. I hear somebody got charged with illegal gun possession. I'm thinking of people that are a lot more darker than Hunter Biden. I just think that would be a hell of a charge to pin on him for 7 years. And you ask, would I do this for a regular person? Well, a regular person does not have Hunter Biden's resources. So that felony could be stopping them from getting a job, getting an apartment, so they can't live places, or certain places they can't go. 11 days. They purchased a gun, lied on the application, had it in their possession, I think for 11 days or something like that. And he got rid of the gun. Do I think he should still be facing issues 7 years from now? No, I don't. So yeah, I would pardon him if he was my son. In fact, any anyone, if I was governor or president, anyone that walked in my office and could make a case that their son is going through it, I would pardon them. Anyone. If you don't have any other criminal history and this is on your record, anyone, I would do it for any of my constituents or voters if I would. I do believe we incarcerate people too damn quickly. For a regular person, that would cause a lot of misery in their lives. Yeah, I would pardon them. Looking in the comments, how do you feel about gun control? Depends on what is being proposed. I'm not a fan of bump stocks. I know a lot of my MAGA, my beloved MAGA favorite. I don't see any real. It's a toy. That's all it is. I mean, it doesn't improve. I think there are some things. You know, a 100-round drum on the bottom of a Glock doesn't improve the accuracy of the weapon at all. I mean, you could play around with it at a range, but if you use something like that in society, you're probably going to have a lot of casualties that had nothing to do with the conflict. So I think there is some area, certainly the way we treat mental illness, I believe there should be some gun control where we do a little bit more about people who are mentally ill. I've asked a question on the program, and I'll go back to the box, but I asked a question on the program. If a soldier comes back from Iraq, combat experience, and they admit to their doctor, they're waking up in the middle of the night screaming, they seen things in Fallujah, maybe they were in Afghanistan, seeing some awful things happen in Kabul. They're waking up screaming in the middle of the night. Should they be allowed to have a gun? Most of my right-wingers said, yeah, you know, he has a right to defend himself. How much more mental illness do you need? So I don't believe in this country this is on the right, because the left believes that you want to stop all these events, you should ban guns. The right believes that's stupid. They believe it's mental illness. But then when you start asking them questions about what would they do to the mentally ill, the answer overwhelmingly is nothing. I would still give them a gun. So I'll just leave it like that. Midwest vibe. Wow. Says I'll just stay in the house. Good to see you on the program. Not if domestic violence is involved. And domestic violence, I can tell you another issue with that is, man, I don't want to piss off the female viewers, but a lot of women make up claims. I mean, I'm going to tell you, not necessarily making up claims, but it's not uncommon for a woman to get angry and hit a man. And then when he hits her back, which generally is harder, call the police, and the guy ends up with a DV on his record. That happens to a lot of guys. Should he lose his ability to defend himself? We can debate it, but it happens a lot. I mean, when I say a lot, I mean emphasis on a lot. There is a lot of guys that get domestic violence beefs because they defended themselves. They hit a woman back that hit them. And she called the police and was able to put up a better story. You know, the guy usually is, you know, solid when the police get there. The woman is in tears. She's the one that initiated the phone call, all of that. It's not uncommon. So in this case, he would lose his gun rights. So I'm a little, I think it needs to go further. You know, okay, yes, if you got genuine domestic violence behavior in your past, stalking, things like, yeah, you shouldn't have a gun. But, you know, just one allegation that came from somebody with no proof, I don't know. I'm not, you know, I'm liberal, I lean left, but I don't know about it in that case, because I do know a lot of guys wrongfully get DV beefs. There's no denying it. Yvonne says, Russia bombed the children's hospital in Kiev. Is that a Nazi target for Russia? Well, the right believes that there are all sorts of, you know, and they do believe that there are Nazis in Ukraine and in biolabs and all. First of all, I've never heard the right be so anti-Nazi. I don't know where that came from, because there's a lot of right-wingers that regularly wave around the swastika, so all of a sudden you can do that, but if you do it in Ukraine, and now you are our enemy. I mean, there's, you know, we saw what happened with Charlottesville. Good people on both sides. They were waving that stuff there. I don't know. I mean, we saw a guy with a Camp Auschwitz shirt on January 6th. All of a sudden, when you do it in Ukraine, it's all of a sudden a bad problem. I don't know. Looking in the comments, no accusation should ever hold any consequence at all. Never. I think it should be investigated, but I don't think you should take away. You should automatically take away people's gun rights based on accusations, because some people do that. I haven't seen them. Can you name them, Tim? I don't know what you're talking about there. Looking in the comments before I go back to the box. What did I say? I've never known anyone to like that symbol. Well, it's waved a lot. And I think to some degree, because a lot of folks say the Confederate flag is about pride and heritage. Fair enough, but a lot of people believe it's about hate because it's often used in unison with folks who are waving around the swastika. Most hate groups, not all, but most hate groups use one of those symbols, either the swastika. Well, let me say most hate groups that don't like minorities, because you can be a minority and be, hating on white people. It can go both ways. But most hate groups that are white oriented, they usually use one of those symbols, Confederate flag or the swastika. And the people who say it represents pride and heritage don't normally have a lot of outrage for them using it. I mean, there's a lot of hate groups that appear in the South. They rent out they stand on Times Square to get a permit to protest, and they're saying all kinds of awful things, and they got one of those symbols on them. The folks who say it's about pride and heritage, they're not there protesting them. I mean, they let them do it. But then when you show up and say, well, this flag needs to go or this statue needs to go, then suddenly they do show up to protest. And Kevon says, what hate groups are those? Well, we start with the KKK. I know people are going to bring up that they were Democratic oriented, which is true, but the KKK has been wearing the Confederate flag as a symbol for over 100 years. Certainly since the invention of the camera and, of course, the video camera. I mean, there's just heaps of footage of the KKK holding meetings and rallies and protests. The symbol is on them. I mean, you can go back to when the video is really fuzzy. It's on the side of the cars. They got it. They draft each. I mean, they've been using that symbol for a long, long time. Is it a symbol of pride? I don't know. I'm just simply saying they use that symbol, and not a lot of folks on the South, down in the South, really seem to have an issue with it. Looking at the comments. Okay, and why Biden do a eulogy? Why did Biden eulogize? You're talking about Senator Byrd. I want to get back to the box. Let me just say, in regards to Senator Byrd, he was a KKK member. Biden was pictures with him, riding around in the car with him. I think the missing part of that story is, towards the end of his life, Senator Byrd turned his life around in terms of racism. He was in with the NAACP. That doesn't come up when we bring up Biden and Byrd. They don't bring up that both Jesse Jackson and Barack Obama was at his funeral as well. None of that comes up. But Senator Byrd did not go out the way he was when he was in the KKK. He did turn his life around. There's video and footage of, you can see that. That doesn't come up. We just bring up his past time to Biden and run with that. But he did change that. Going back to the box. We'll keep it moving on with Jedi Master. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program. Biden didn't pass bad bills for black people. That was Trump. Why are they going to bring up the crime bill? I mean, Biden was part of that. Jedi Master, good afternoon. Okay, Jedi Master came and dropped. He's one of many who sat in Congress and Senate. Yeah, but he's part of it. He is part of it. And it did lock up a lot of African Americans. Now, I'm going to make it clear. It's not like Trump has a history of being against the 94 crime bill. Trump was in favor of stopping, frisk, and all that stuff too. So I get that Biden is the one part of the co-authoring of the bill, but getting rid of Biden and voting for Trump, Trump just didn't author it. He was in full support of it. I mean, there's no history of Trump. Trump was on television, did movies. There's no history of Trump speaking out against the crime bill. None at all. Looking in the comments. He wrote, what does that say? He wrote the Violence Against Women's Act. I don't see it, but I'd like to know what the... Tim, have you read it? Damn. What are you asking me have I read? What am I missing? Let me know in the comments. Going back to the box. Master of Bulldogs. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program. Yeah! Thank you, Spring. Appreciate the hat and mustache. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So, what do you think? Is Biden in denial?
Biden?
Yeah. President Biden, is he in denial?
Denial of what? Please explain.
His cognitive abilities, his poll numbers, his favorable numbers. He thinks that he's way higher than the numbers are suggesting. Is he in denial?
He is in denial. He is.
Should he?
But listen, let me explain. I want to explain, right? You was talking about the gun, right? Gun laws, right?
Sure.
The gun laws, right? Possession of a weapon, right?
Okay.
In certain states, right? It's a misdemeanor in certain states. Just having it, right? Now that they passed the law, now you can carry whatever, you can do whatever in certain states. But in a city like New York, LA, where there's multiple millions of people, right?
Okay.
We understand you shouldn't have it there, right? You shouldn't, right?
Well, wait a minute.
Everybody should defend themselves no matter what.
Why should you not? Wait. Why should you not be allowed to carry a firearm in a populated city?
Because there's so many cops. There's so many cameras. There's so many. In New York, there's cameras galore. You can't get away with crime.
Well, I'm not worried about. Well, hold on. If you're trying to hurt me, I'm not concerned of whether you're getting away. I'm concerned of whether you'll be successful. The cops are not going to stop you.
I feel you on that. But I feel you because it takes a cop 45 minutes to get to you anyway. So yeah, we understand. I understand. Everybody should have a gun because crime is crazy. Everybody's trying to eat, so everybody is trying to eat. And it's hard to eat right now.
So at the end of the day, you don't believe in any limitation on gun ownership?
No, it should be back in the Western when you can have a 6-shooter right on your hip.
Oh, what if I want an AR-15?
You can have that also. But, I'm talking about Western time. I'm talking about, having a 6-shooter. The AR-15 should be in your house. It should be when there's a threat or crazy, it should be in your house.
Oh.
But on the streets, it's a difference.
So on the street, you should not be able to carry an AR-15.
You shouldn't. What do you need it for? Ain't no war coming too much like that. You know what I'm saying?
Let me ask it to you this way. Let's take somebody like Kyle Rittenhouse. Do you think he would have been able to defend himself with a 6-shooter just as equally?
Some people can, some people cannot. Some people can and some people cannot. 6-shooters, 6-shooters was and people had back in the days had rifles and semi also, but that 6-shooter still, protect them. You get what I'm saying? It did that.
So and I see in the comments somebody says Kyle Rittenhouse was a good shot. Well, with an AR-15 and you're shooting somebody that's less than 10 yards away, I think, you don't need to be that accurate with something like that. But with a 6-shooter, I don't know if he would have hit the guy. I mean, it's a lot harder to hit somebody with a 6-shooter than it is with an AR-15. So at the end of the day, though, you're okay with everybody having a 6-shooter, but let's say, for instance, I wanted a Glock with a 100-round drum.
You should have anything to protect yourself. You should, to me. Okay. I don't care who it is. I really don't care who it is. Everybody should protect themselves, no matter what.
Okay, so you started out by saying no guns in big cities. It sounds like you're talking different.
Yeah,
now.
big cities, because it's hard. It's more hard. You got cops standing on the block. You got cops walking around. You got too many cops.
Yet that's where you're talking about too many cops and cameras in big cities. Yet that's where all the murders are happening.
Yeah, and that's weird to me. That's the weirdest thing to me. If you think about that, I think some cops be like don't care so much, or they scared to go to help. You hear me?
Well, the thing is, Master. The thing is, In a big city, you're right up on the people. Even in big cities like Chicago, where I'm from, if you call the cops, it's still going to it could take as much 5 to 10 minutes before they arrive, even if they're around the corner. If somebody's shooting at you, you got half seconds between the bursts. I mean, even 5 minutes is way too long if somebody's popping rocks off at you. So
it is way too long. I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
We should, in the cities everywhere, it should be no laws for protecting yourself, no matter what.
Okay.
No laws.
So you changed your tune from the beginning of this conversation substantially.
Yeah, I changed my tune, right? I changed my tune because you put it that way. You hear me? You did put it that way.
Yeah, because in the cities where all these cops and cameras are, they catch a lot of people on camera getting murdered. So the camera ain't gonna save you.
You do.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do. You're right.
All right. Well, I think we came to terms.
One more thing. If that was Trump's son, right, got in trouble, you don't think he would pardon him? You don't think so? He would.
1,000%. I got to move it on, though, Master. Appreciate you coming through.
Have a nice day.
You too.
Take care.
All right, appreciate it. Yeah, if I would say this. If Trump's son was going through what Hunter Biden's son is going through, first of all, Trump would have been saying from day one it was a witch hunt. So that by the time his son got convicted, most MAGA would already think it was bullshit to begin with. I mean, so he would have pardoned him the moment it happened. In fact, I would submit to you that Trump probably would have wrote up a pardon, just like right now the Supreme Court is essentially with this immunity shit. They're kind of writing up a pardon for Trump before the cases even get adjudicated, which is why they're throwing out stuff and delaying. I mean, that's what Trump, I believe, would have done for Don Jr., Eric, or Ivanka. He would have, listen, if you're going to charge my kid, I'm going to go ahead and write out a pardon for him right now. That way you can go ahead and do your charges. I've already issued a pardon for him. I think he would have done it. So the idea that Biden let his son go through that, as I told one of my callers earlier, you're fighting fair with somebody that's willing to bite an eye gouge. Why? I mean, okay, yeah, I want to be moral and let my son pay the price for his crime, when I know the other side would just let him go. We're in a battle right now for my Trump supporters and for my Biden supporters. The fight we're dealing with now between those two, you don't get any points for being moral. There is no points for morality. That's it. You either win or you lose. This is almost like a real fight to the death, because some would suggest that the winner is going to change the country so much, and I'm talking MAGA believes that Biden is going to do that as well. You know, they're going to turn kids into LGBTs and late-term abortion. I mean, the right believes that too. So the battle we're in is literally like a fight for the death, or as Biden would say, the soul of this nation. You don't fight that in a gentleman's way. This is a fight to the death. Taking a moral high ground, this ain't the time to do that. This is not the time to be doing that. You know the other side is not going to do the same. If I already know the moment the bell goes off, we're in the round together, I already know you're going to come on my side and do me like Mike Tyson, bite off my ear, and they're not going to stop the fight. Why the hell would I fight you like a gentleman? So the idea is you should take the high road. Let that shit die out with Michelle Obama. That's old. That's archaic at this point. You go low, I go high. Damn it, going low is winning. Going low is not doing bad at all. You can be very victorious by hitting in the groin, eye gouging, and biting. Do that shit. Fighting according to the rules right now in this environment is a losing battle. I just believe that. Nevertheless, folks, someone says do what Jasmine Crockett did. I don't know what that is, what that means, but nevertheless, and I see somebody in the comments says, oh, Democrats need to start playing dirty. They're delusional. I don't disagree with that. It is your boy Tim, the handsome liberal, Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. Central. Do appreciate you folks. 191,000. We almost reached 200,000 likes. Thank you for the support. Certainly that. Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. Central, 1300 is when you'll find us here. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone. So understand when you're in a program, whether you're in the comment section or in the box, you don't have to agree with anyone on the program, including yours truly. Until then, 1 p.m. Central, I will see you folks tomorrow. Same on YouTube. Appreciate the support. Stupid comments, says Damien. Every comment is stupid to some folks. We need God and Trump back in the White House. God needs to remove Biden and Harris to lose this election. Pray for America. There are points to be made why we may need Trump. The God thing, I'm just on the other side of it. Like I said, God is the best choice for America if you ignore the history of America. The history of America shows a country that was founded on Christianity, strong connection with God, and it is oppressive as fuck. Our history involves very religious leaders, very religious population, and we treated a lot of people awfully. Believing in God did not steer us towards the path of morality at all. I would submit to you, we have become more focused on morality the more we strayed away from God. But if you go back throughout history, we came closer and closer to God the further back you go in history, and the less moral we were. I don't see it. The history of America doesn't show where believing in God stirred us down a better path. We're talking about the families remained intact, the husband and wife stayed together. We're paying attention to all of that, but all the slavery and oppression and Jim Crow laws and treatment toward women, we're going to ignore all of that and just pick out the good parts. I'd rather have a divorce rate higher and be a free black man than be guaranteed that I'm going to stay with my wife until I die, but we're going to do it under very oppressive laws. I don't see it. I'm just saying the history of America does not show that the more we devote ourselves to God, the more moral we will be. Never have been. We'll see what happens. It's your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. I'll catch you tomorrow.